You are a trash-tier elder in the sect, and rightfully so. Your cultivation level isn't even on par with the golden dog guarding the gate. But even with all that, countless powerhouses are still kneeling, begging you to take them as disciples. All because you stumbled upon a golden finger that extracts attributes from literally everything. Touch any random tree you see everywhere, and your wood dantian will automatically absorb spirit chi. Touch an extraterrestrial meteor, and you can gain an unrivaled physique, sturdy as steel. Even more absurdly, touch the old white-haired rooster on your head and you can awaken an ancient halberd spirit. This divine martial spirit boasts 250 million years of cultivation, but your golden finger has one fatal flaw. You must gift the attribute to someone close to you to permanently possess it. In this world, with no family or friends, you can only think of taking disciples. After all, one day as a master, a lifetime as a father, right? So, our boy decisively joined the sect's disciple recruitment assembly. But as he walked to his seat, over 30 inner sect elders immediately stopped chatting. All their eyes were on him. Wait, this guy's here too? He doesn't even have a cultivation base and he thinks he can take disciples? What a joke. If you can't cultivate, just accept your L, bro. Forcing it will just make you choke. Our boy heard every single one of those words, but his heart didn't even flinch. He silently found an empty spot and sat down. The original owner of this body only got his position thanks to his ancestors' merits and was a born trash-tier physique cultivator, basically having zero power to refute any mockery. Then, following a hearty laugh, a figure descended from midair, landing right in front of the platform. The elders present, one by one, stood up and spoke. Sect Master's senior brother, the one who arrived was none other than the Ling Wu Sect Master, Zhang. This absolute unit had a robust physique and a face carved like a blade. His aura was extremely solid. Zhang glanced at everyone, his gaze quickly stopping on our boy. Ren Shi, you came too? Our boy stood up, bowed and greeted. Greetings, Sect Master senior brother. Zhang nodded, signaling him to sit down, then made a public announcement. This year's disciple recruitment has a total of 3 trials. Those who pass all 3 will be selected by the elders first. If no elder chooses them, they'll enter the outer sect for cultivation. The first trial, climb 10,000 steps, testing perseverance and natural talent. The second trial measures your true heart, guarding against enemy forces trying to embed spies. The third trial measures bone age. Anyone over 16 is immediately eliminated. With that, the disciple recruitment assembly procedure was officially announced. From start to finish, our boy just sat and watched. He had no cultivation, so he couldn't even tell the talent of these disciples. How would he know? The other elders were different. Their eyes were super sharp. Some disciples with insane talent had already been tacitly chosen by them. As for our boy, he only cared about one thing. After these 3 trials, would there be a single disciple left for him? Finally, out of 10,000 youths, only a little over 100 remained. Most of these youths were drenched in sweat, their hair disheveled. Just passing through 3 layers of trials had drained a massive amount of their energy. Out of the 10,000 youths who came here, only just over 100 passed the 3 trials. The harshness of these trials was truly immense, bro. The elders then began to select one by one. As soon as the sect master finished speaking, an elder burst out laughing and stood up. This profound bridge body disciple? None of you better try to snatch him from me. As soon as he finished speaking, the old man directly led a youth away. Immediately, gasps of admiration erupted around them. Whoa, a special physique. Who wouldn't want that? Not long after, another elder stood up. Sect master senior brother, this time, please don't contend with me. Our boy looked towards the voice. The one who spoke was Zhang Zuoyang. Our boy remembered this old man very clearly. Back when I first joined the sect, guess who was the biggest hater? This old clown. Zhang Zuoyang's smug F waved his hand at the crowd. Bro, come out here and let my disciples feast their eyes on you. Then out from the crowd stepped a young master in some drip, radiating an abnormal vibe, clearly already deep into the cultivation game. Zhang Zuoyang then cackled, y'all better look close, this is a spirit body we're talking about. Bro dropped that bomb and the entire arena gasped. Even sect master Zhang Chongji looked like he missed out. A spirit body is like an S-tier cultivation cheat code, absorbing spiritual energy way faster than your average Joe. Zhang Zuoyang snagged this prodigy, and his smug face was practically vibrating with pride. As other disciples got picked and dipped, only about 30 poor souls were left standing in the courtyard. These younglings were all look hopeful at the elders' seats, but most of the elders just gave a quick scan, shook their heads, and moved on, clearly not seeing any potential. My thoughts were still brewing when Zhang Chongji announced, all right, if all the junior brothers have picked their talents, the rest of these students are headed to the outer sect. But before he could even finish that sentence, Zhang Zuoyang suddenly cut him off. Absolutely not. Zhang Ji looked at the old man. Junior brother Zhang, do you have, concerns? Zhang Zuoyang straight up pointed his finger, aiming it directly at a kid in rough clothes amidst the crowd. This guy can't join the sect. He's an absolute spirit body, a born fraud with a trash-tier physique, totally unworthy of being a disciple. Our Ling Wu Sect doesn't need a second piece of trash. The moment those words left his mouth, every single elder in the room simultaneously swiveled their heads to stare at me. Because everyone here knows I'm also an absolute spirit body. Zhang Zuoyang's words weren't just for that kid. He was explicitly trying to dunk on me. My face went dark. This old fossil really won't even give me a moment to catch my breath, huh? Zhang Chengji frowned and chimed in, but rules are rules, bro. Pass the 3 trials, and you're in the outer sect. Zhang Zoyang just sneered. Taking a trash-tier body like that into the outer sect is just a waste of resources. Might as well give him some pocket change, a snack, and tell him to get lost. The young master's face went white as a ghost when he heard that. But he didn't back down an inch. Instead, he stared down the row of elders. Gritting his teeth, he yelled, "I don't want your handouts. I want to cultivate." I couldn't help but give this kid another look. To face so many powerhouses and still drop lines like that? This kid's got some serious main character energy. Too bad he's an absolute spirit body. Normally, that's a one-way ticket to being an NPC. Zhang Changji was clearly sweating, stuck between upholding the rules and facing the cold, hard reality. And then, just like that, I stood up. Sect Master Senior Brother, I'll take this disciple off your hands. The second I spoke, the entire elders' row went dead silent, all eyes on me. They probably thought I was just here for the drama. Nobody expected me to actually step up and claim a disciple. Even the thick-browed kid suddenly snapped his head up, eyes wide with pure disbelief. Zhang Zoyang immediately let out another cold laugh. You, worthy of taking a disciple? Go look in the mirror, bro. How many more days you even got left is still a big question mark. Zhang Changji also shot me a look. Junior Brother Ren, are you absolutely sure you want to take him in? I looked him dead in the eyes and gave a firm nod. By sect rules, I'm an intersect elder, so yeah, I'm fully qualified to take a disciple. This disciple and I have a fated connection. I'll take him. And if, within 3 months, he still can't cultivate, I'll peace out of the Ling Wu Sect right alongside him. The moment those words dropped, Zhang Zoyang's eyes lit up like Christmas. All this old hater wants is for me to get kicked out of the sect. And of course, before Zhang Changji could even say anything, Zhang Zoyang piped up. Fine, you can take this loser. Within 3 months, if he still can't cultivate, then you and your trash disciple can both get lost. Also, you better not go messing around with the cultivation path. I definitely don't want to see a trash elder from the Ling Wu sect stepping into the Ling Mu tomb. I calmly stared down the old man and replied, my word is my bond. If he can't cultivate within 3 months, then yeah, we're both out. At this point, Zhang Changji could only sigh, alright, consider it done. This disciple is now officially taken in by Junior Brother Ren. Zhang Zoyang dramatically flicked his sleeve, then turned and strutted off, his prized spirit body disciple in tow. Old man still scoffed, 3 months is more than enough for my disciple to level up a whole damn realm. A fraud will always be a fraud. I stared at that old man's retreating back, one thought burning in my mind. I will slap this old geezer's face the moment these other elders peace out. Soon enough, it was just me and that ruffled-haired kid in the courtyard. He looked at me, eyes red-rimmed, and the next second, this dude dropped to his knees, kowtowing hard. Disciple Shiwan greets master. I went to help him up. From this day forward, you're my disciple. My name is Renpin Intersect Elder of Feijian Peak. Come on, let's go. I led Shiwan back to my courtyard. Once inside, he took a quick look around. Our boy probably didn't expect an elder's pad to look like this. My courtyard was just full of fresh greens, not exactly the grand mansion he had in mind, I bet. I looked at him and smiled. Master and disciple were definitely fated. You, my friend, have an absolute spiritless body. In the entire Ling Wu sect, it's just the two of us. Hearing that, Shiwan genuinely told me, Master, even if I can't cultivate, Shiwan will still treat you like a father from now on. I found that pretty hilarious. I waved my hand and said, don't be so quick to write yourself off. Who says an absolute spiritless body is a dead end? Go find yourself a temporary room. Come find me a bit later. The moment I finished speaking, Shiwan's eyes practically glowed. Even if he didn't get my game plan, he could tell I wasn't just faking it. Soon after, Shiwan showed up in front of me. At this point, I was holding a book, the Xuanyangju left behind by our ancestors. This was a mid-grade cheat code, pretty decent even by Ling Wu Sect standards. But what I really cared about wasn't the technique itself, but that green attribute I snagged earlier from touching the spirit iron. The wood attribute I got. I stared intently at Shiwan. With a thought, I directly slapped that spirit energy absorption attribute onto him. The moment that attribute landed, a green aura popped up on Shiwan's body, and his spirit energy absorption rate skyrocketed by 150%. And in that exact moment, I officially gained a permanent attribute too. Its color directly leveled up from green to blue, and my spirit energy absorption rate immediately shot up by 500%. That feeling was like someone just kicked open the door to cultivation itself. I had to suppress my surging joy. I joyfully handed the Xuanyang to Shiwan. Here's the Xuanyang from now on, just cultivate using this. Shiwan eagerly grabbed it, thanking me profusely once more. He probably still had no clue that the real secret to his cultivation wasn't this cheat code, but the attribute I just slapped onto him. But I was too lazy to explain it all, just told him to go try it first. Once Shiwan left, I immediately bolted back to my room. My predecessor already had the Xuanyang's content memorized word for word, so I didn't even need to look at it. The first step of cultivation is body tempering, where spirit energy enters your body to cleanse your muscles, bones, and flesh. Normally, an absolute spiritless body couldn't even touch this stage, since spirit energy fundamentally just won't enter them. But things are different. I took a deep breath and immediately activated the cheat code. A second later, the surrounding spirit energy went absolutely wild, rushing into my body. That wasn't just absorption, bro. That was a straight-up violent plundering. The spirit energy that surged into my body instantly spread through every limb and organ, starting to furiously temper my physical form. I could even clearly feel the hidden injuries in my body being cleared, inch by agonizing inch. In just a moment, I completely vacuumed up all the spirit energy in the room, and my cultivation jumped 2 whole levels to body tempering second layer. What surprised me even more was that with my cultivation stabilized, that feeling of near-death weakness, poof, gone. The injuries left by my predecessor from forcing cultivation were also mostly healed in that instant. I slowly exhaled, staring at my palm. I couldn't help but exclaim, "This blue attribute, is this terrifying?" I originally planned to keep going, but alas, the surrounding spirit energy was all tapped out. So I had to stop and went out to the courtyard, incidentally sensing towards Shiwan's room. The spirit energy in that room was also slowly draining. Clearly, Shijun had also successfully cultivated, though his absorption wasn't quite as brutal as mine. I decisively sat cross-legged in the courtyard. If the room ran out, I'd just absorb from the courtyard. Time to activate the cheat code again. The spirit chi in the courtyard flowed like a river, converging around me, and my cultivation continued its relentless ascent. Bro really sat there for 3 whole days, and when I opened my eyes again, the entire garden was practically sucked dry. I could feel the immense aura surging within me. Peak body tempering, just one last push to the true chi realm. I had barely finished cultivating when Shiwan also stepped out of his room. I glanced over and this kid was already at body tempering 3rd layer. His progress was pretty solid, not gonna lie. Shiwan, eyes red with excitement, immediately dropped to his knees, profusely thanking his master for this rebirth. I waved him off. Enough kneeling, bro. Head over to the Miscellaneous Affairs Pavilion and snag your inner disciple gear. You've been so focused on cultivating these past 3 days, you didn't even get your identity token, uniform, or basic supplies. Shiwan, scrambling, quickly obeyed and went to sort things out. Meanwhile, I pulled out another martial art technique, a low-grade Kung Ming Quan. This was the only martial art I had. My cultivation was there, but my fighting skills? Not so much. My martial arts had to keep up, or I'd just be a deer in headlights when the real action started. The outcome? Practicing this technique literally made me want to turn to stone. My talent is straight up trash tier. After half a day, I couldn't even touch the basics. I gotta find an attribute to speed up this martial arts grind. I was already racking my brain, trying to figure out where to find that attribute. Shiwan had already made it to the Miscellaneous Affairs Pavilion. Since his inner disciple status was locked in, snagging his gear went without a hitch. His identity token, disciple uniform, and all sorts of miscellaneous items were quickly handed over. Shiwan clutched them, his heart burning with pure hype. If he hadn't crossed paths with me, today he wouldn't even be in the outer sect, let alone the inner sect. Cultivation? Forget about it. He literally thought his life was cooked, but in the blink of an eye, not only could he cultivate, he even smashed through to body tempering 3rd layer in just 3 days. What a glow up. In his mind, I was no longer just some regular elder. Nah, I was a hidden master, a true Go8, chilling deep within the sect, keeping a low profile. The more he thought, the more he respected me. But just as he was basking in the glory, someone ahead called out, "Yo, are you Shiwan?" Shiwan looked up. 4 or 5 youths were standing there, rocking outer disciple uniforms. And get this, a few of them were the same clowns who took the assessment a few days ago. As he walked closer, the smiles on their faces screamed pure bad vibes. The ringleader spoke first. "Damn, your luck's wild. An absolute spirit body actually waltzed into the inner sect?" Another clown chimed in, laughing. "But we also heard your master is a trash-tier loser who can't cultivate." "Trash with trash. What a perfect pair," someone else snickered. Another clicked his tongue and shook his head. "A trash-tier fraud actually managed to sneak into the inner sect?" My eyes have truly been opened. These clowns were obviously butthurt. They truly believed their talent surpassed Shiwan's, yet they were stuck in the outer sect while he leveled up. Now, seeing Shiwan draped in the inner disciple uniform, their seething anger just exploded. Shiwan was actually trying to hold back, but the moment they started talking trash about me too, his face instantly flared crimson. He could take a hit, but my boy would absolutely not let them casually slander his master. He suddenly let out a roar, but those clowns didn't back down. They just laughed even harder. Whoa, is he actually getting mad? "If we don't beat your ass today, this fury in our hearts won't subside." And then one of them just had to flex. "An absolute spirit body like you won't ever cultivate in this lifetime, but we're built different. We've all successfully absorbed spirit chi, and now we're all at body tempering 1st layer. Jealous, bro?" They didn't even get to finish their sentence before Shiwan absolutely exploded forward. The fire in his heart couldn't be held back a second longer. The full power of his body tempering 3rd layer erupted. He shot forward, grabbed the nearest fool by his collar, and slammed his fist down. Bash! That clown's nose was instantly skewed to one side, blood gushing out like he was running a free sample station. The remaining goons froze solid. What in the actual cultivation hell just happened? Isn't this dude supposed to be an absolute spirit body? How is he this strong? But Shiwan's was already seeing nothing but red. He wasn't about to waste precious energy on talking trash with these NPCs. He pounced, and what followed was a beatdown straight out of a horror movie. Not long after, every single one of them was sprawled out on the ground, beaten senseless. Horrific screams echoed through the area. Only after beating them to within an inch of their lives did the raging fire in Shiwan's chest finally cool down a notch. But when he finally looked down at the pathetic mess on the ground, every single one of them busted up, he himself started to low-key freak out. Beating up fellow sect disciples this bad, if this got out, would it drag his master down with him? Shiwan's mind was a tangled mess of worry. Clutching his new gear, he frantically bolted back to the courtyard. The moment he busted through the door, I immediately clocked that this kid's vibe was off, so I called out to him. "Shiwan." He jumped, startled out of his skin, and mumbled out a tiny master. Master, I looked at him, asking what in the cultivation realm just went down. Xuan mumbled for ages, couldn't even string a full sentence together. In the end, this dude just stubbornly mumbled, "Master, it's nothing." I shot him a look. If there's tea to spill, spill it. Holding it in won't do anything, but he still kept his jaw clenched, lips sealed. He just said he'd suddenly become an inner disciple and was like totally zoned out. I heard him out and didn't push it. Youngsters always have their own secrets. If our boy doesn't want to talk, then so be it. So I waved my hand. "It's nothing. You'll get used to the glow up." "Shiwan, just find any spot with good chi on Fei Jianfeng and cultivate. The courtyard's empty now, don't waste time here." After that, I bounced right out the door and headed off. Main peak of Ling Wu Zong? With my cultivation, this mountain path was nothing. In a flash, I was already at the main peak's grand hall. The main peak had denser spiritual energy and, get this, way more traces of hidden treasures than anywhere else. But I wasn't about to just wander around. First, I had a disciple announce my arrival. Soon enough, I smoothly linked up with Jiang Changji. He looked at me, clearly a little caught off guard. "Junior brother, what brings you here?" Before I could even drop a word, he let out a heavy sigh. "Junior brother, if this is about that 3-month whole thing, senior brother isn't not able to help you out, but next time, don't be so impulsive, capisci?" I was legit stunned, but then it clicked. He probably thought I was here to beg for a favor. I cupped my hands. "Sect Master Big Bro, I appreciate the good vibes. But today, I didn't roll up for that." Zhang Changji looked at me, pressing, "So what did you come for, junior brother?" I didn't beat around the bush. I asked directly, "Sect Master Big Bro, what's the monthly payout for inner elders, exactly?" Zhang Changji blurted out, "2 low-grade spirit stones," but the words barely left his mouth before he realized something was off. "Ren Shidi, why are you suddenly asking about this?" I took a deep breath, ready to lay my cards on the table and drop the truth bomb. "Sect Master Big Bro, this month, I only got 1 measly spirit stone." Zhang Changji's face instantly went grim. "1? Bro's the Sect Master, how could he not know about the shady dealings going on? Why didn't you spill the beans earlier?" I let out a bitter laugh. Before, when I was solo, 1 spirit stone meant ramen noodles for life, but I managed. But now, things are different. I've got a disciple under my wing now. This 1 spirit stone? Forget about cultivating with it. It's not even enough for daily expenses, fam. My predecessor was all about that fake face, never minding the injustice, would never snitch upstairs. But me? Nah, I'm different now. If it's mine, you bet your cultivation it ain't going missing. Zhang Changji sighed. "Yuan Shidi, the sect definitely owes you on this one." With that, he pulled out an inventory slot and handed it to me. "Here's 500 spirit stones. Take the bag and use it." I grabbed the inventory slot, my heart instantly feeling lighter. 500 spirit stones? At least for a bit, I wouldn't have to stress about cultivation. I cupped my hands in thanks. "Much appreciated, Sect Master Big Bro." Zhang Changji waved his hand. "Junior brother, be a bit frugal with these spirit stones. Especially with that disciple of yours. If he still ends up a fraud, don't go pouring too many resources on him." Hearing that, I decided it was time to subtly flex a bit of my true power. "Sect Master Big Bro, my disciple might just have a chance, you know?" Zhang Changji just sighed, clearly not believing a single word I said. In his eyes, Shiwan and I were just 2 peas in a pod. One couldn't cultivate first, and the other was clearly destined for the same fate. I opened my mouth but decided against explaining further. Too much explaining just brings more problems, fam. So he grabbed the spatial ring and dipped. Zhang Changji watched his retreating back, muttering, "Junior brother Yuan looks much better than before. Looks like he finally gave up on that chaotic cultivation, huh? And that's a good thing." Our boy just walked out of the grand hall on the main peak, but no way was he rushing down. Bro's at the main peak. Not exploring would be a huge L. He strolled slow, but his eyes were wide open, scanning every item around. Just a bunch of useless white-tier insights, though. He walked and scoped until his eyes landed on a stone stele, and on that stele his heart just skipped a beat. On this very stele there hung a blue-tier insight. Divine Comprehension. Comprehension? That's what our boy's been missing most this whole time. His cultivation base is solid, but his martial skills have been stuck in the mud forever. If he could just get his hands on this, wouldn't he just strike? He stared intently at that enlightenment stela, his brain immediately trying to dig up its history. This artifact is a sacred treasure of the Ling Wu Sect, rumored to be left behind by the founding patriarch himself, standing tall for thousands of years. Sect disciples wanting to study this bad boy? They either gotta do some legendary deeds or cough up a hefty price. Regular folks can't even lay a finger on it, but now it's just sitting there, right in front of him. Like it's been waiting for him specifically. Bro didn't hesitate for a second, he just straight up yoinked that blue insight. The moment that insight hit his hand, all he could think was, jackpot. Too bad it's like every other item, 1 draw per piece. Otherwise our boy would have sucked that stele dry. Still, even 1 draw, that's a massive W right there. He then checked his insight panel. The permanent slot was still blue, Spirit Chi Absorption, boosting his Spirit Chi Absorption speed by a whopping 5 times. And now his temporary slot gained another blue-tier insight, Divine Comprehension, which skyrockets his understanding of cultivation techniques and martial skills by 5 times. This is it, boys, he's set. All he has to do is gift this insight to Shiwan, and he'll instantly upgrade to purple-tier comprehension. By then, won't martial skills just beg to enter his mind? The more he thought, the more hyped he got. He couldn't resist scanning the main peak a few more times. Turns out this place is stacked with good stuff, but dang it, extractions only refresh every 3 days. He's out of pulls, so even if there were more treasures, he'd just be standing there, watching. But no cap, there'll be plenty more chances later. To everyone else, the main peak is the sect's core. But to our boy, it's just a free-for-all insight treasure chest. Today's trip? Not only did he snag 500 spirit stones, but also a blue-tier comprehension insight. By any metric, that's pure profit. His mood instantly did a 180, and his steps got a whole lot bouncier. He left the main peak, heading straight for Feijian Peak. Feijian Peak is one of the Ling Wu Sect's 9 major peaks. Each peak has a few inner sect elders, with a peak master elder overseeing them as the boss. And yeah, every peak has its own specialty. Feijian Peak, naturally their specialty is sword techniques. Back when he first joined the sect, our boy was obsessed with the wild grace of the flying sword. It was totally epic, but then he realized, without a cultivation base, no matter how sick the sword techniques were, they meant absolutely nothing to him. Slowly that dream just faded away. Back in his room, he immediately pulled out some spirit stones, placed them in his palm, activated his cultivation technique, and slowly absorbed the spirit chi. The spirit chi from the stones flooded his body, constantly grinding away, strengthening his foundation. He was at body refinement peak, just half a step away from the true chi realm, but now, more than ever, he couldn't rush it. The cultivation path. The biggest fear is a shaky foundation. If the base isn't solid, everything built on top is just a house of cards. Just as our boy was chilling, meditating, old man Zhang Zoyang got word that he'd gone to the main peak. His first reaction, a face that could curdle milk. He actually went to the main peak? The disciple who delivered the news just kept nodding his head. Your disciple personally witnessed it, not a single word is false. Zhang Zoyang tossed that disciple a magic pill on the spot. After sending the disciple away, his face darkened as he cursed, "That trash-tier loser, without the sect master's protection, do you even deserve to stay in the Ling Wu Sect?" The more Zhang Zoyang thought about it, the more uneasy he felt, clearly believing I'd gone to Jiangchangji to pull some strings. He even began to worry the sect master might for a moment be swayed and actually help me sweep this under the rug. So he stood up, intending to rush towards the main peak, but before he could even step out the door, the spirit body disciple he had just taken in had already walked up and saluted him. "Master, there are a few points in my cultivation I don't understand, and I wish to seek your guidance." As soon as Zhang Zoyang saw his favored disciple, his expression finally softened quite a bit. That spirit body, who had just entered the sect a few days ago, had already reached the 3rd layer of body tempering. This speed could be considered outstanding in the history of the Ling Wu Sect. This was also his only consolation recently. He immediately smiled. "If there's anything you don't understand, just say it." The young man asked, "Master, I am clearly a spirit body, so why haven't I leveled up to the 4th layer of body tempering yet?" Zhang Zoyang laughed loudly after hearing that. "My boy, do you know how long it takes for others to enter the 4th layer of body tempering? Your current speed is already terrifyingly fast. There are some who take half a month just to draw spirit into their bodies. And then there are the trash-tier losers who will never even dream of stepping onto the path of cultivation in this lifetime. You just need some refinement now, don't rush it." After he finished speaking, he added in a cold voice, "You go cultivate first. This master must make a trip to the main peak. That kind of trash-tier loser fundamentally doesn't deserve to stay in the Ling Wu Sect. This time, I'll settle this matter once and for all. And there's one more thing you must remember. From the day people are born, many things are already predetermined. Geniuses are geniuses, trash-tier losers are trash-tier losers. It cannot be changed. From now on, associate more with geniuses and stay far away from those trash-tier losers." The young man slowly nodded after hearing that. Master is right. This disciple will engrave it in his heart. Shiwan and I had been categorized as trash-tier losers, and if you're trash-tier, then being trampled to death by him is only natural, I guess. It wasn't until dusk that Shiwan returned, and as soon as the kid walked in, I was a little surprised. This kid had actually already hit the 4th layer of body tempering, and I couldn't help but feel a surge of satisfaction, adding another layer of satisfaction. As soon as Shiwan saw me, he immediately bowed in salute. "Master." Immediately after, he looked at the sky and went to cook. Soon there was a plate of green vegetables and 2 bowls of rice on the table. To be honest, my life was truly frugal. My usual diet never even saw a speck of grease. I picked up a piece of vegetable and asked casually, "Where did you go to cultivate today?" Shiwan honestly replied, "I went to the foot of Feijian Peak, by the riverbank. The spiritual energy there isn't as good as in the courtyard, but it's still decent." Intrigued, I mentally bookmarked that location. A spirit stone used is one less in the bag. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth is the true path. So I ate while saying, "Now that you've reached the 4th layer of body tempering, you should also start practicing martial skills. I have a set right here. Take it and start practicing." I handed him the Kongming Quan set I had already prepared, a low-grade technique. As soon as Shiwan saw it, his eyes lit up, and after taking it, he almost knelt down again. I quickly stopped him. "Do this less in the future. Don't just kneel without good reason." He quickly nodded. This disciple will remember. My expression didn't change as I seized the opportunity during dinner to directly bestow upon him that green divine comprehension solution. The next second, my own status panel immediately changed. Besides the green spirit absorption solution, I also gained a permanent purple one, divine comprehension, which directly skyrocketed my understanding of cultivation techniques and martial skills by manifold times. My core couldn't help but tremble slightly. This was only the 2nd permanent solution. What kind of spectacle would it be if I could upgrade it further in the future? After finishing the meal, Shiwan hugged the Kongming Quan and retreated to his room, while I also took out the martial skill that had originally given me such a headache. I opened it, and now looking at it again, it was completely different. One quick glance was all it took. The Kongming Fist's power release, chi flow, variations, every single core principle just woke up and drilled itself straight into my brain. That feeling wasn't about learning. It was like an instant download, pure understanding. Even I was genuinely shook. This might be a basic martial art, but back in the Ling Wu Sect, this was straight up considered a top-tier, legit technique. Other cultivators would spend months just to even touch the threshold, but here I was, seeing through it all instantly. Suppressing the shock in my heart, I continued to extrapolate from those key principles. Before long, I had already grasped 80 to 90% of the Kongming Fist's profound mysteries. I even felt like I could execute the technique right then and there perfectly. The Kongming Fist, this specific martial art, focuses on using the physical body as its core. It compresses true chi into the air before the fist itself, and once mastered, the punch explodes like thunder. It can even generate a supersonic boom. I was just about to stand up and give it a shot when all of a sudden, a whistling sound cut through the air from the room next door. I froze for a second, then instantly realized. Bro had already gotten the hang of the Kongming Fist basics. That blue comprehension ain't half bad, for real. But the faster he got, the more pressure I felt. Can't have my disciple asking me questions about the cultivation path when his esteemed master, know nothing, right? With that thought, I immediately settled into a firm stance and unleashed a punch forward. The moment my fist shot out, the air in front of it violently compressed, followed by a deep muffled thud. The entire room seemed to vibrate, and even I was left staring in utter disbelief. This wasn't just basic entry, this was straight up hitting a rather profound level. If I were to unleash this punch on a regular body refinement peak cultivator right now, they probably wouldn't even be able to block one hit. I let out a slow breath. In my heart, only one thought remained. Purple comprehension is truly a cheat code. It's just too OP. But it was already late, and I really couldn't be bothered to stir up any more trouble, so I just went straight to bed. However, after I crashed, Shiwan, on the other hand, couldn't catch a wink. He had just made a wind sound with his very first punch, hyped as hell, when instantly after, he heard that deeper, more powerful thud coming from my room. That booming sound left him utterly dumbfounded. Sitting in his room, the more he thought about it, the more terrified he became. A single punch that makes that kind of sound? What cultivation realm is that, even in? Master is truly guiding me. He definitely heard the commotion from my own punch just now, and saw that my practice wasn't quite up to snuff, which is why he purposely threw a punch in the next room just for me to hear. This is clearly the legendary imparting technique from afar. With that realization, Shiwan was so hyped he couldn't close his eyes all night. Early next morning, I swung open my door and found the kid bustling in the kitchen, complete with dark circles under his eyes. On the table, he quickly set out a bowl of plain porridge and a plate of pickled veggies. He flashed me an awkward smile. "Master," he said, "time to eat." I sat down and offered a compliment on his hard work, but the kid immediately shook his head. "It's no trouble at all, Master. It's what a disciple should do." Then, with a look full of regret, he added, "Last night, Master imparted the profound mysteries of the Kongming Fist to this disciple from afar, but I still haven't fully comprehended it." This stupid disciple, I was holding my porridge and almost choked on the spot. "Imparting technique from afar," he said. What he was talking about. Could it have been my casual offhand punch from last night? But I wasn't about to expose his delusion, so I just nodded along with the flow. Anything you don't get, just ask. With my purple comprehension cheat code backing me up now, don't even talk about just answering his questions. I could literally take this entire fist technique apart and spoon-feed it to him. Shiwan's eyes went red listening to this. My generosity towards him was borderline absurd. Last night, imparting guidance from afar, and this morning, directly teaching him. His mouth was spewing thanks as he instinctively started to kneel again. Thankfully, he remembered I just chewed him out last night, so he managed to hold back and instead just clasped his hands. I took the opportunity to clearly break down the core principles of the Kongming Fist for him. After listening, the kid's face was radiating enlightenment. The more he listened, the more unfathomably profound he found me. After he finished his barrage of thanks, I casually tossed him a few dozen spirit stones. "Here, take these and cultivate." The second those spirit stones came out, Shiwan practically froze, his mind blown. In his entire life, he'd never seen that many spirit stones all at once. After breakfast, I headed back to my room, spread out the spirit stones, and got ready to push past the true chi boundary. I'm currently at body refinement peak, which, for outer disciples in the Ling Wu Sect, is basically the absolute ceiling. Just one more step, and I'll officially enter the true chi realm. Disciples in the true chi realm are the ones who truly step into the inner sect ranks, and the Yongyuan realm, that's strictly elder level territory. And the C realm is like the peak master level of a summit. I'm still light years away from those absolute units right now. Right then, I crushed every single spirit stone, steadily absorbing the spiritual energy within. As the spiritual energy continuously poured in, my body finally gave birth to its very first strand of true chi. In that moment, I distinctly felt my whole being was completely different from before. With true chi flowing, my strength skyrocketed by tenfold compared to the body tempering stage. I quietly savored the feeling for a moment, then quickly calmed myself. This was only the early stage of true chi. There was still mid-stage, late stage, and peak to go. The road ahead was long, but just as I finished my cultivation, a loud bam-bum-bum came from the door. "Ren Ping, are you there? Your disciple caused trouble. If you don't come out, we're smashing this door in." My brow twitched. I stood up and walked into the courtyard. The wooden door was being hammered, echoing wildly. Shiwan also rushed out from his room. The moment he saw me, his expression instantly changed and he thudded to his knees. Master, your disciple has caused trouble. I looked at him, my tone unwavering, and told him to explain everything. Only then did Shiwan recount the entire incident of beating people at the miscellaneous affairs courtyard that day. After listening, my heart actually felt relieved. After all, it was just a bunch of arrogant little brats actively courting death. What's the big deal? I waved my hand. No need to panic over this. Then I walked to the door and directly pulled open the courtyard gate. Outside stood a few people, 3 outer sect elders, and behind them, several young men. Their faces were bruised and battered, clearly the ones Shiwan had beaten up. One of them immediately snorted coldly at me. I thought you were going to play the cowardly turtle. I casually glanced at him. What can I do for you all? The 3 outer sect elders immediately raised their voices. We have business. Your disciples severely injured. Our fellow outer sect disciples. They were just walking around when your subordinate disciple beat them senseless. What is this? Do you really think just because you hold the title of inner sect elder, your disciple can just run rampant and do whatever they please? Today you must give the outer sect an explanation. Hearing this, Shiwan immediately stepped forward to retort. Nonsense, they clearly blocked the path, insulted Master, and even tried to attack me. I only fought back then. The beaten youngsters immediately put on an aggrieved expression. We didn't block any path, nor did we insult anyone. He just saw us and wanted to beat us up. Hearing this, my expression immediately turned icy. This wasn't about seeking justice at all. It was clearly a setup. 8 times out of 10, it had to be connected to Zhang Zuoyang. One of the outer sect elders was still putting on a show. Elder Ren Shi, look how brutally your disciple beat them. Some even have broken bones. You must give us an answer, both morally and logically. I chuckled. A mere dispute between disciples, yet it warrants 3 esteemed elders personally coming to my door? You 3 truly pity your disciples and are wholeheartedly devoted to the sect. With you safeguarding the Ling Wu Sect, how could its great cause possibly fail? The moment those words left my mouth, the 3 old faces instantly struggled to maintain their composure. They of course understood I was subtly mocking them for taking advantage of the situation. But since the act had gone this far, one of them decisively dropped the facade. Enough with the nonsense. Private fights between disciples must be punished according to sect rules. Hand over your disciple. This doesn't concern you. The more I listened, the more I wanted to laugh. So this was their scheme all along. Too bad for them, they picked the wrong person to mess with. I stared intently at them, answering word for word. Are you perhaps misunderstanding the sect rules? Outer sect elders, are you even worthy? To overstep an inner sect elder like me and interfere with my subordinate disciple? Rewards and punishments for inner disciples? That's the master's business. Since when did you clowns get to stick your noses in? Done talking, I turned directly to Shiwan. For this little private spar, I, your master, sentence you to face the wall and reflect for 3 days. Shiwan was confused for a second, then immediately understood the assignment. This disciple accepts the punishment. The 3 outer sect elders' faces turned black as thunder. This wasn't a punishment, it was a blatant face slap to them. One of them was gnashing his teeth in pure fury. Ren Ping, you're really something. I raised an eyebrow. Well duh, I'm amazing. With that, I slammed the door shut, giving them a bonus scram, for good measure. The dudes outside tried to say something, but the words died in their throats. They weren't brave enough to make a scene. They knew full well. They could try to inconvenience me with petty stuff, but if they pushed me too far and things actually blew up, nobody was winning that. Once the door was closed, Shiwan still looked super guilty. I just chuckled at our boy's expression. What's the big deal about this anyway? Next time you're cultivating facing that wall, remember to keep your posture on point. Even a wall facing repentance has to look legit, right? Shiwan blinked, then burst out laughing, all his tension. With this little storm behind us, I grabbed my fishing rod and made a beeline for the riverbank. First, the spirit energy there was abundant. Second, my taste buds were about to sprout flowers from sheer boredom. Greens and white rice every single day? Who could possibly survive that? My Quiti realm cultivation was supposed to be progressing, and arriving at the riverbank, I immediately felt it. This place was way better than the courtyard. The spirit energy was so much denser. I cast my hook first, then started circulating my OP cultivation technique, conveniently drawing all the surrounding spirit energy into my body. Fishing and cultivating at the same time, peak efficiency no cap. Before long, my float dipped. I reeled in a massive 8-pound carp. Just a regular fish, but hey, at least it was a change of taste. My mood boosted, I decided to test out some punches on the spot. Last night, I only threw one move of the Kong Ling Quan, and I wasn't really satisfied. But this time, with a single punch, the air in front of me exploded. A mighty boom echoed a full-blown sonic blast. I just stared at my own fist, absolutely bewildered. This was the mark of Kong Ling Quan reaching mastery. And get this, I'd only seriously practiced it twice. It was already mastered? That's just beyond ridiculous. Other people grind for decades, and I'm out here done in 2 punches. The more I thought about it, the more hyped I got. There were still orange, red, and yellow stages. Who knows how powerful this thing could get? I retracted my fist, grabbed my carp, and went back to the courtyard in a stellar mood. Shiwan took the fish and in no time had whipped up a delicious braised carp. While we were eating, our boy suggested he wanted to cultivate by the riverbank too. I just nodded. Ah yes, facing the wall, that repentance was just an excuse. From tomorrow, just follow me to the riverbank. The next day, I brought him with me to the riverbank. I fished and cultivated, and he practiced his techniques right beside me. Nobody bothered nobody. In a flash, half a month flew by. During this time, Xiwan blasted his way to Qi Peak, and he even cultivated the Kongming Xiong to perfection. As for me, I effortlessly touched Truchi Peak. Say no more. At the very least, in the Ling Wu Sect, I was no longer considered weak. The best part? For the last half-month, Xiwan has been handling everything in the courtyard, from cooking and fetching water to making tea and weeding the garden. He did everything perfectly, leaving me as the ultimate slacker, just opening my mouth for food. These days were seriously chill. I even let out a sigh of contentment, thinking, who knew taking on a disciple could be this relaxing? This kid's only real weakness is being a bit too straightforward upstairs. That day, I was still by the riverbank, staring blankly at the water just like usual. Suddenly, the float dipped hard and the fishing rod bent into an arc. This pull was way stronger than usual. I secretly celebrated, thinking it was a big fish, but as I reeled in, the line became taut, and whatever was underwater refused to budge. This power? Definitely not your average fish. I almost immediately confirmed it was a Ling Wu, and probably a massive one at that. The fishing line screamed in the wind, about to snap. Without a second thought, I poured my true chi directly into the line. The thin, almost broken line suddenly became incredibly resilient. I gave a mighty pull, heard a massive splash, and a huge green-bodied fish was hauled to the surface. This fish was as big as a large bowl, plump and round, radiating a dense spiritual aura. One look and you knew it wasn't some ordinary creature. Xiwan, hearing the commotion, rushed over. After getting a clear look at the fish, he exclaimed in shock, "Master, this is a Ling Wu." I turned to him. "Oh, you know it?" Xiwan scratched his head. "I bought a Ling Wu bestiary a few days ago and just skimmed it. This fish is a treasure. They say eating it can directly advance you by one tier in the Qi realm." I glanced at him. "Too bad, you're already at the peak of the Qi realm. For you, this is just a change of flavor. Let's think about what dish to make tonight." Xiwan immediately returned the smile. "Master, let's pack up our gear and head back." But as soon as they reached the main sect road, all eyes from every direction converged on them. For the past half-month, Xiwan and I had been fishing every single day, and we'd long become the laughingstock for more than a few disciples. They'd say things like, "Look at those two crooked fish," or "two absolute trash-tier losers." Those words filled the air. Me, I didn't care. Xiwan, however, hadn't yet cultivated a thick skin like mine. Every time he heard them, his face would turn crimson. But today was different, because what he was carrying in his hand was the Ling Wu. In the eyes of the outer disciples, this thing was a literal treasure. Someone from afar exclaimed in shock, "Did they seriously just catch a Ling Wu?" Another's eyes turned red. Even reaching Kuei-Ti's 7th layer would be possible. Some were just plain envious, to fall into the hands of two trash-tier losers like them. What a waste. As we walked, an outer disciple suddenly stepped forward, his attitude surprisingly polite. "Elder Ren, would you be willing to sell that Ling Wu to me?" I glanced at him. This guy was only at Kuei-Ti 4th layer, his eyes burning with desire. But I still shook my head, refusing to sell. The disciple looked disappointed, but didn't press further, cupping his hands at me before turning to leave. From a distance, mocking laughter immediately rang out. "Isn't that Liu Changkong? 5 years since he entered the sect, and he's still stuck at Kuei-Ti 4th layer. He'll probably be kicked out of the sect soon enough." That kind of trash being polite to Master Ren Ping and his disciple? 8 out of 10, they're in the same pathetic boat. I heard the gossip, but I didn't pay attention to the guy's retreating figure. Everyone has their own destiny. You can't interfere with every single person. But we hadn't gone much further before a group of people blocked our path. Leading them was a young man with his nose pointed straight to the sky. His face oozed arrogance. This was Zhang Zuoyang's spirit body disciple, Li Xuanri. Behind him was a crowd of inner disciples, their eyes filled with disdain. The surrounding outer disciples saw this scene and quickly backed away, all knowing this group was coming for me. Li Xuanri called out my name first. I looked at him and replied indifferently, "And you are?" Li Xuanri's face instantly darkened. "I am an inner disciple of the Xuanti realm." "Li Xuanri?" I nodded, an inner disciple indeed. "Then why aren't you saluting me?" I immediately cut him off. According to sect rules, he actually should have saluted me. But this absolute unit, Li Xuanri, came to flex today. Little did he know he got shut down the moment he opened his mouth. The outer sect disciples around were just munching popcorn, clearly thinking I was courting death. No cultivation base, yet daring to challenge Li Xuanri. Bro was seething, finally snapping, "Enough of this nonsense. Ren Ping, you stole my Azure Spirit Fish. Hand it over now. As a senior doing something like this, aren't you afraid of shaming the sect?" Those words dropped, and even the bystanders were like, "Hold up, what?" Everyone knows I personally caught this fish at the riverbank. This isn't just seeking trouble. This is straight up grand theft spiritual fish. I just smiled. This pathetic excuse is what he's trying to use to corner me? Bro, seriously? The first thing out of his mouth is claiming I stole his fish. Hilarious. Seeing I didn't fall for the trap, Li Xuanri immediately dropped the act. "A trash-tier NPC like you is worthy of an Azure Spirit Fish. If you don't hand it over today, this isn't going to end well for you." I looked at him, my smile growing even wider. "Want to throw hands? Come at me. I'm not picking a fight. But if some clown offers their face for a slap, then naturally I won't hold back." The surrounding disciples were all stunned, seeing me suddenly acting so unyielding. My mans went from 0 to Sigma in seconds. In their minds, I always chose to retreat before. But today, it was like I'd become a completely different person. New update, new personality, who dis? Li Xuanri sneered even colder. "No cultivation base and you dare to speak to me like that? Bro really thought he was the MC. Today I'll show you what a true cultivator is. You and your master, you'll spend your whole lives looking up to me." I glanced at him, a nonchalant tone in my voice. Oh, is that a spirit physique? Cute. Shiwan, this dog is all yours. Shiwan had been holding back this whole time, just itching for a fight. Hearing that, he took a step forward, pointed at Li Xuanri, and roared, "You dog, come here!" Everyone there was utterly flabbergasted. In their eyes, this wasn't sending a disciple to fight. It was sending a disciple to get absolutely clapped. Li Xuanri was so angry he started laughing, lifting his foot to step forward, but an inner sect disciple beside him stopped him. Junior brother Li, let's take it to the martial arena instead. He was briefly stunned, then realized. Fighting in the streets would only cause trouble. But if they went to the martial arena, that would be a different story. Way more official, you know? He stared intently at Shiwan. Do you dare to get on the martial arena with me, punk? Shiwan didn't retreat an inch, his expression growing even colder. Oh, it's on. What's there not to dare? Words have been said, let's go to the arena then. Officially, the Ling Wu Sect doesn't allow private duels, but let's be real, wherever there are people, there are disputes. And where there are disputes, there must be a place to settle grudges. So the sect specially set up a martial arena. As long as both parties agree to step onto the stage, no matter how brutal the fight, it's considered fair game and totally legit. I looked at Li Xuanri with that puffed-up, arrogant look of his. Inwardly, I was cracking up. This kid is only at body refinement 7th layer, while Shiwan had already reached body refinement peak ages ago. He'd even fully mastered the Void Fist. Talk about a cheat code. Letting Shiwan handle this clown wasn't just talk, it was a master plan. This was also a perfect opportunity to shatter Zhang Zuoyang's little schemes, and make that old man bother me less in the future. Win-win. The moment we made our move, the drama watchers on the street immediately started gathering, getting hyped for the show. Some called their fellow disciples, others went to inform the elders. Some even sprinted ahead to the martial arena, afraid of being late and missing the absolute banger of a show. Li Xuanri's side also moved incredibly fast. Clearly, someone had already zoomed off to invite an elder to supervise. After all, a martial arena fight was no small matter. If they fought too brutally, broken arms and legs were just another Tuesday. Someone had to keep watch to prevent any actual loss of life. Gotta keep it PG-13 mostly. I wasn't in a hurry at all. I just glanced at Shiwan on the way, telling him to go all out, just don't actually kill the dude. The rest, your master's got it covered. Shiwan nodded heavily after hearing that. Master, rest assured, the rage in his eyes was practically overflowing. Ever since this kid became my disciple, he's been indebted to me. And whenever someone tries to use me as a punching bag, our boy always wants to rush in and throw hands. Today he finally got his chance. Of course, he wasn't going to back down. By the time we reached the arena, the crowd was already packed tighter than sardines. Even the distant mountain paths were teeming with onlookers. The referee for the match was a main peak elder, Yang Yuan. Shiwan was usually calm, but even he was breathing a little heavier now. I, on the other hand, casually glanced into the distance, and sure enough, saw some familiar figures. Zhang Zuo was among them. That old man, Zhang Zuo, was standing quite far away. Clearly, he felt it would be beneath him to get too close for a mere disciple's fight. But honestly, I couldn't care less about that old Zhang Zuo. Zhang Zuo held a pretty high position in the Ling Wu Sect, naturally acting all high and mighty on normal days. But today's fight was the perfect medicine for him. It was tailor-made to cure his arrogance. The eyes below the stage kept boring into me and Shiwan, and they all had the same thought running through their minds. Two trash-tier losers actually dare to challenge a spirit physique? Li Xuanri hadn't joined the sect long, but his reputation had already spread far and wide. Among the new disciples, he was recognized as the #1 genius. A born spirit physique naturally absorbed spirit chi much faster than ordinary cultivators. He reached the 7th level of body tempering in less than a month after joining the sect. This speed was truly remarkable in the Ling Wu Sect. As for Shiwan, not many even knew his name. Most only remembered him as that trash-tier dude with a crippled spirit physique. And to make it worse, he was the disciple of a trash-tier elder like me. So in their eyes, this fight had absolutely no suspense from start to finish. In the distance, Zhang Zuoyang and several other inner sect elders watching from afar. Someone chuckled in a low voice, "Senior brother Zhang, Renping is truly out of options. He probably went begging when he ran to see the sect master a while ago." Zhang Zuoyang's face immediately darkened upon hearing that. That trash. Mentioning that incident clearly still had the old man seething. After I left the main peak, that old geezer followed right behind. He originally intended to investigate the truth and conveniently slander me in front of the sect master. But the outcome was unexpected. Zhang Changji didn't even bother listening to his nonsense. The moment he opened his mouth, he got a fierce scolding instead. Only then did the old man realize that not only did I go to the main peak, but I also pinned all the charges of embezzling stipends and bullying fellow disciples squarely on him. Although Zhang Zuoyang didn't personally commit these acts, the sect master shut him down with one sentence. As a head elder, if you don't do it yourself, then naturally someone else will do it on your behalf. You cannot escape responsibility for this matter. In the end, he was even fined 500 spirit stones on the spot, and only then was the matter considered settled. Zhang Zuoyang didn't gain anything. Instead, he lost a fortune. No wonder he'd been so angry he couldn't sleep these past few days. Another elder beside him reminded, "Senior brother Zhang, you should tell Li Xuanri to hold back a little later. What if Renping's disciple gets seriously hurt? Then the 3-month agreement won't be able to conclude." Upon hearing this, Zhang Zhouyoung's thoughts took a twisted turn. The more he thought, the more he felt that I was intentionally pushing Xiwan onto the arena to sacrifice his life, just to keep my position in the Ling Wu Sect. The old man gnashed his teeth right there. Such a malicious heart. Sending his own disciple to die just to secure a bit of a lifeline for himself? Such an evil-minded person cannot be allowed to remain. Having said that, he immediately sent someone to pass a message to Li Xuan. Tell that kid don't hold back too much. Seeing his expression improve, the other elders immediately started flattering him. Senior brother Zhang, your discerning eye is truly unmatched. To pick such a budding talent, a spirit physique no less. Reaching the 7th level of body tempering in less than a month, it truly makes one green with envy. Only then did Zhang Zhouyoung finally crack a slight smile. I couldn't hear their entire conversation, but looking at their expressions, I could roughly guess. They were probably just congratulating themselves while the audience below was buzzing with lively discussions. Li Xuanri swaggered onto the arena stage. Standing tall, his chin was practically scraping the heavens. Dude acted like the world revolved around him, not putting anyone in his eyes. His body-tempering 7th layer aura pulsed, completely unhidden. Plenty of disciples around looked on with admiration. Reaching this stage in less than a month was wild. For the outer sect crew, this was nothing short of a dream. Even many inner sect disciples wouldn't dare boast their talent surpassed Li Xuanri's. Meanwhile, Xiwan was much more modest on his side. Our boy just scoffed coldly, then shot up, leaping straight onto the stage. This move instantly caused an uproar among the crowd below. Bro actually has cultivation. How can a normal person jump onto a 10-foot stage so easily? No way, isn't he an absolute spiritless body? Did all those elders misjudge him back then? Someone immediately retorted, how could that be? Zhang Zhouyoung himself tested him. You guys are just speculating. Xiwan had already walked right up to Li Xuanri. They were only a few steps apart, and Li Xuanri glared at him, about to hurl another insult like Yule Taker. But Xiwan didn't give him a chance to open his mouth. The cheat code within him instantly circulated qi. His entire body's blood boiled and he immediately drew back his fist, gathering momentum. The air before his fist visibly compressed. It was the void punch. This punch hadn't even been thrown, but the crowd below erupted. How can he cultivate? He actually mastered a martial skill. In that instant, the entire arena was rocked. Everyone thought this was a genius bullying a noob, but no noob was found. Instead, a fierce tiger had just bared its fangs. Even Zhang Zhouyoung in the distance was stunned. How can this be? Clearly, I couldn't even finish his sentence, swallowing the rest as the truth was undeniable. Xiwan not only cultivated, but he'd also mastered a martial skill. The elders nearby couldn't help but take a sharp, cold breath. Mastering the void punch was than a month since entering the sect. This isn't just good comprehension, this is terrifying. How difficult are these martial skills, anyway? These elders knew best. Anyone else would take months, even a year, to barely scratch the surface. Yet Xiwan executed it this fast. Seeing Zhang Zhouyoung's face, they wisely fell silent. Zhang Zhouyoung could only force a stiff smile, so what if he mastered it? My disciple is at the body tempering 7th layer. Even if this kid mastered the void punch, it's still just entry level. Li Xuanri will still crush him. The elders nearby immediately nodded along. Exactly, junior nephew Li's talent is unparalleled. That Xiwan probably just took a shortcut. It's nothing significant. On the stage, Li Xuanri's expression finally changed. You actually have cultivation? Xiwan couldn't be bothered to reply, channeling his power and unleashing a punch. Immediately after, a deep muffled boom echoed across the stage. The moment that sound reverberated, the elders in the distance all froze, dumbfounded. That boom wasn't just entry level. He'd reached a considerably deep stage, at least proficiency, but not ordinary proficiency. A disciple less than a month in mastering a martial skill to this extent? This isn't just good comprehension, this is straight up terrifying. Zhang Zhouyoung's face had completely frozen stiff. He originally wanted to save face for his disciple, but now even he couldn't convince himself. Li Xuanri was so terrified by that punch his scalp went numb. In a critical moment, his entire body suddenly flared with a yellow light. He'd clearly activated his protective bodyguarding martial skill to block it. Xiwan gave a cold smirk. His fist didn't hesitate, smashing down fiercely. A mere bodyguarding martial skill thinks it can stop this punch? Xiwan sneered, not stopping for a millisecond, slamming his fist straight down. Only a dull thud was heard as the yellow light around Li Xuanri instantly shattered. That protective martial skill couldn't even hold for a single breath. The next second, the force penetrated. Li Xuanri's body flew backward like a kite with a snapped string, soaring 10 feet away before landing with a cloud of dust. Everyone below the stage stared, jaws dropped. Li Xuanri just got sent flying. I'm not seeing things, right? What in the cultivation realm is going on with Xiwan? Bros seriously that strong? Didn't they say Li Xuanri was the top genius? Those who were talking smack earlier are now looking absolutely clowned. Li Xuanri struggled to crawl off the ground, his face a ghastly mix of green and pale. He stared wide-eyed at Xiwan, finally managing to croak out, "Just what is your cultivation level?" Xiwan, on the other hand, just smirked. Master, I told you I could grind you into the dirt. You just didn't believe me. And that so-called spirit body of yours? It's nothing special. With that, Shiwan stopped holding back and unleashed his true cultivation power. The battle arena instantly felt like a giant boulder had dropped, a thunderous roar erupted, and the entire crowd went wild. Peak body tempering. He's actually at peak body tempering. 2 whole tiers above Li Xuanri. In less than a month since being declared dead, his spirit body rocketed straight to peak body tempering. If this is a trash tier loser, then what are the rest of them? The elders in the distance were all stunned speechless. Zhang Zoyang's eyes were practically bugging out. How is this possible? To cultivate to peak body tempering in such a short amount of time, a preposterous thought suddenly bloomed in his mind. Had he really been so wrong back then? The one he personally sentenced wasn't a fraud at all, but a genius among geniuses. This realization pierced through him, making his heart tremble. Standing below the stage, I quietly observed my surroundings. Every now and then, someone would glance my way, their eyes filled with shock, admiration, and envy. In their eyes, a bottom feeder like me must have just stepped in dog poop and miraculously stumbled upon such a treasure. But they'd never know that Shiwan could reach this point today, all thanks to me, the master on the stage. Li Xuanri still tried to save face, but his body was already starting to turn yellow with fear. Shiwan stared at him, his voice icy. Master, I told you, as long as I don't kill you, the rest is up to me. I wasn't even bothered with you, but your mouth is just too damn stinky. No sooner had he finished speaking, Shiwan charged forward again. Peak body tempering against body tempering 7th stage. The gap was already immense, not to mention Shiwan had mastered the Void Spirit Fist. Li Xuanri simply had no right to retaliate. Shiwan kicked him down, then pinned him, unleashing a flurry of blows with both hands and feet. Every punch landed hard. The sound of bones colliding echoed through the air. In just a moment, Li Xuanri's face was utterly disfigured, nose bruised, face swollen, covered in dust, lying on the stage like a rotten fish. After the fight, Shiwan stood in the middle of the arena, his chest heaving violently, but his eyes shone with brilliant light. He felt the shocked gazes from all around, an unprecedented surge of exhilaration filling his heart. The pent-up fire he'd suppressed for so long felt more than half unleashed today. Then he jumped off the stage and quickly ran to stand before me. Master, your disciple did not disgrace you. I looked at him and nodded slightly. Well fought. Let's go. That azure scale fish won't be fresh to eat if we wait any longer. Freshness is key for fish, you know. As soon as I finished speaking, the tightly packed crowd automatically parted ways, clearing a path for us. They weren't afraid of me. They were terrified of Shiwan. After this battle, no one dared to call our boy a loser again. With this talent, this combat power, everyone knew his future would be nothing short of legendary. I calmly carried the azure scale fish and walked out. Just as I stepped out of the battle arena's vicinity, I saw Zhang Zoyang and several other elders standing ahead, their expressions even more colorful than before. Shock, doubt, extreme unwillingness, they had it all. I stopped, my gaze landing directly on Zhang Zoyang's face. Elder Zhang, our 3-month agreement, it ends here. My disciple just stepped onto the cultivation path. Guess you're officially defeated, old man. Zhang Zoyang's face went from dark to pitch black in an instant, but hey, the truth was undeniable. He could only huff, just pure luck. I just smiled, too lazy to even clap back at the old dude. Since I won this ultimate flex, he'll probably chill for a bit. At least he won't be popping out every other day, making me want to hurl. I led Shiwan back to the yard. The moment we stepped through the door, this dude Shiwan grabbed that Thonland fish and practically sprinted into the kitchen. Even while he was busy, he didn't forget to shout, Master, tonight we're turning one fish into 5 dishes. We got raw fish fillet, fishbone soup, fish skin salad, spicy stewed fish head, and braised fish belly. I just sat outside and casually waved him off, you do you, kid. Over time, Shiwan's culinary skills had leveled up immensely. I just casually throw out an idea and this absolute unit would somehow whip it up perfectly. But this was his first time tackling the legendary Thonland fish. Shiwan was scrambling in the kitchen for a whole 2 hours before finally presenting a full-blown fish banquet. And honestly, the taste was actually pretty solid. Sure enough, after that arena smackdown, Zhang Zoyang finally backed off. Of course, it also helped that my disciple and I usually kept to ourselves anyway. Our life was pretty chill back then, just fishing and cultivating, rinse and repeat. Shiwan followed me everywhere. While I fished, he'd be busy cultivating. Later, I even bought a specialized scaly fish illustrated guide, only to find out that river actually had over 10 different types of scaly fish. But besides the Thon land fish, I hadn't managed to reel in anything else recently. To unlock the rest of this fish Pokedex, I even went out of my way to find some new types of bait. Too bad this Ling fish was proving to be a real pain in the ass. Days just flew by. One day I was chilling by the river like always, eyes glued to the bobber, secretly circulating my cheat code cultivation technique. Spirit chi continuously built up within me, and in that very moment, a subtle barrier shattered. I instantly broke through from the true chi realm straight into the Yang Yuan realm. Reaching this tier, my title as an intersect elder in the Ling Wu Sect finally truly matched my power. My drip was complete. The Yang Yuan realm was the standard for elders. Above that was the Ninghai realm for chiefs, and even higher for the sect master and grand elders. But honestly, this breakthrough didn't even faze me that much. My cultivation was increasing so fast, even I was starting to feel a little overwhelmed by my own sheer power. At this point, realm growth didn't even get me as hyped as reeling in a fish on my rod. I just calmly stabilized my breathing, my mind already calculating how many more gotcha pulls I needed to make later. and what kind of new martial arts techniques I should master. Oh, and right, gotta stock up on more new fishing bait too. Just then, Shiwan came jogging up from a distance carrying a lunchbox. Master, I brought lunch. The kid respectfully bowed, then opened the lunchbox. Inside, a perfectly fried fish. I just stared at it blankly for a second, not because I was full, but because I've been eating fish literally every single day lately. The smell alone was making me nauseous. Shiwan, noticing my glazed-over expression, asked, Master, is it not to your liking? I waved my hand, just eat it, whatever. As for the fish I caught today, you deal with them, all of them. I am genuinely completely over fish. Shiwan let out a bitter chuckle, too. Turns out he was also on the verge of throwing up from all the fish, but didn't dare say anything. So he just timidly asked, so what should I do with all these fish? I replied casually, whatever you want, just don't let them go to waste. After that I added, head back first and don't forget to cultivate. Only then did Shiwan gather the massive fish and leave. This kid was actually pretty famous in the sect now, going from a trash tier nobody to defeating a genius. His name had spread like wildfire. Now, whenever he walked around, people would actively try to chat him up, because where there's power, there are always sycophants, but Shiwan, being the honest soul he was, didn't want to get dragged into all that drama. That day, as our boy Shiwan was carrying his fish back, sure enough, he was stopped again. Senior brother Shi, please, hold up. Shiwan looked over and recognized Lu Chongkong, the outer sect disciple who'd tried to buy his azure scale fish before. Shiwan flashed a grin. Nah, senior brother ain't catching any azure scale fish these days. If I did, it'd be for my own belly, not yours, bro. Lu Chongkong looked deflated for a second, then quickly snapped back with a smile. Senior brother Shi, could you maybe put in a good word for me with Ren Elder? I seriously need those scale fish. If I don't power up, I'm gonna get yeeted out of the sect. Shiwan pondered for a moment, then finally nodded his assent. If the chance comes up, I'll put in a word for you, bro. Hearing that, Lu Chongkong instantly perked right up. Before, he always thought Shiwan was the one reeling in all those azure scale fish. Little did he know, I was the real fishing pro. So this time, he cut straight to the chase. Does Ren Elder have any new hobbies lately, or anything he needs help with? Shiwan looked bewildered, and honestly, from his perspective, I had been doing absolutely nothing lately. Whether it was cultivating or just scarfing down food, it all felt like I was just going through the motions. But hey, when it came to needs, I wasn't entirely bereft. My master has been sick of eating fish lately. Sometimes when I reel them in, I don't even know what to do with them. And that bait I bought last time? Absolute trash. Master even called the seller a fraudulent merchant. Lu Chongkong's eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. He quickly bowed to Shiwan. Senior brother Shi, I get it now. Thanks for the pointers. With that, he eyed the fish in Shiwan's hands. If those are too much trouble, why not just pass them to me? It's been ages since I tasted any fish. Shiwan thought for a bit and didn't refuse. After all, even if he took them back, it wasn't guaranteed they'd even be eaten, so Lu Chongkong happily hauled off dozens of pounds of large fish. Meanwhile, I sat by the river until dusk and not a single scale fish bit. I stared at the unmoving bobber, a wave of disappointment washing over me. There were clearly a dozen plus types of scalefish in this river, yet I'd only unlocked one type. The more I thought about it, the more salty I got. But seeing how late it was, I reeled in my line. Time to hit up the scripture pavilion. Me and Shiwan. Right now, our main cultivation technique is just the Void Fist. It's not bad, but it's seriously lacking in variations. I might be okay with it, but Shiwan is still young. He's bound to face all sorts of opponents down the line, and relying on just one fist technique? That's kind of flimsy, bro. Plus, I heard the sex assessment is coming up soon, so I gotta prep some more cheat codes for him. Upon reaching the scripture pavilion, the guarding elder hit me with a surprise. He told me that per the sect master's directive, I could claim 2 more martial arts techniques. I was kinda stunned. According to the inner sect rules, elders could only have a maximum of 2 continuous martial arts techniques. I already had 1 Void Spirit Fist technique, so how was I supposed to grab 2 more? After I asked for details, turns out Zhang Changji gave me a special pass. Guess Shiwan's monstrous talent finally reached his ears. That scripture pavilion elder's attitude towards me became noticeably more polite, none of that looking down on me vibe from before. I couldn't help but chuckle internally. Looks like I really did get my face back, all thanks to my disciple. Inside the scripture pavilion, I first picked out a movement technique, a low-grade continuous one. For the last technique, I searched for ages. Finally, tucked away in a corner, I found a secret skill. This thing had no discernible grade, but it was tossed in with a bunch of continuous martial arts techniques. I flipped it open and instantly knew this was the one. The reason was simple. Its purpose wasn't to slay enemies, but to hide my cultivation base. To anyone else, this thing was practically useless. Who wouldn't want to flex their cultivation for status and resources, right? But for me, this thing was a perfect fit. My cultivation was leveling up way too fast. If I really showed it all off, forget other people, even I'd think it was ridiculous. I just wanted to chill and be a salted fish. This secret skill was practically tailor-made for me. I carried the 2 martial arts techniques back to my humble abode. Over the next few days, our boy mastered yet another movement technique, hitting peak perfection. That secret cultivation concealing technique, even easier, barely broke a sweat. Our man quickly suppressed his aura, bringing his true power down to the 7th stage of body tempering. That way, anyone trying to scope him out would only see a newbie cultivator, never guessing he's already way beyond that. Just as I finished adjusting my breathing, Shiwan walked out from the kitchen with a sizzling plate of stir-fried meat. My eyes lit up. Been eating way too much fish lately, finally a change of pace. As I scooped up a piece, I asked, "Did you head down the mountain to buy groceries today?" Shiwan shook his head. "No, this meat isn't from me. It was specially brought by an outer sect disciple, Liu Changkong, actually. He said he wants to meet Master." That name immediately rang a bell for me. He was the dude who wanted to buy my special spirit fish last time. What does he want with me? Shiwan honestly replied, still about the scale fish. He wants to buy it to level up his cultivation. I smirked. Well, he's certainly a persistent fella, isn't he? If he's got something that caters to my needs, then a quick chat won't hurt. When you're done eating, go fetch him. Shiwan chirped an okay, then scarfed down his food and darted out. Not long after, the kid was back, bringing someone to the door. Lu Chong stood outside, bowing low. Outer sect disciple Lu Chongkong requests an audience with Elder Ren. Our boy was lounging on his bamboo chair, eyes still closed, casually replying, "Come in, no need to be so formal." Once the guy stepped through the door, I realized he'd brought quite a haul this time. In his left hand, a cage, a tiny cat staring out from inside. His right hand was loaded with various bags. Not bait, I guessed. Probably some other snacks. He stepped inside and once again bowed respectfully to me. I was genuinely a little surprised by his persistent politeness. Back when my reputation was trashed here in the entire sect, who didn't treat me with cold disdain. But this Lu Changkong? 2 meetings, and he's been nothing but polite. It doesn't seem like he's faking it either. So I just cut to the chase. Still here for the fish, are we? Lu Changkong chuckled. Elder Ren is truly sharp. This disciple has been in the Ling Wu Sect for years now, and if I don't level up by next month, I'll probably be kicked out for good. That's why I've shamelessly come here, begging for a lifeline. I shook my head. Too bad. I haven't actually caught any scale fish lately. Looks like you came here for nothing today. But who'd have thought? Lu Chongkong wasn't flustered at all. Instead, he calmly started setting his items down. Elder Ren, we can discuss the fish whenever you manage to catch some more, no rush. This is special bait I had concocted, said to be a favorite of the scale fish. He then pushed the cage forward. And this tabby cat? I happened upon it outside. Heard it has a trace of demon beast bloodline and a monstrous appetite. Elder Ren, for any extra fish or those tricky ones to deal with, this little guy is perfect. I leaned down to look at the tiny creature. Fluffy fur, pretty sharp eyes. And yeah, there was indeed a faint ripple of spiritual energy around it. Calling it special is a stretch. It's just a descendant of a demon beast, and its bloodline is so diluted it's practically gone. Still, this thing actually solves an immediate headache for me. I'm sick of eating common fish, but tossing them feels like a waste. Having this cat take care of them, absolutely perfect. I gave a nod. Alright, I'll take it. Next time I catch scalefish, I'll have Shiwan let you know. Lu Chongkong's face immediately lit up with joy. Elder Ren, if you ever have any commands, just tell this disciple. I won't disturb you any further. With that, he prepared to leave. Casually, I let the tabby cat out of its cage. The tiny furball wasn't afraid of me at all. It immediately found my leg and started rubbing against it. Finding it amusing, I told Shiwan, from now on, you're in charge of feeding and taking care of this cat. Shiwan nodded, but before the absolute unit could even take a step, he spun around and goes, "Master, I think I'm about to power up again." I just heard that, casually nodded. "Oh, you're cool. Whatever. Good thing I just so happen to have a dope martial technique and a secret cheat code right here. Take 'em and get grinding, kid." As I said that, I dished out the new loot I just picked up for our boy. Shiwan's eyes practically lit up like a Christmas tree, thanking me profusely before grabbing the books and bolting straight into his room. That very night, our boy really did step into the true chi realm. And get this, he mastered that cultivation hiding secret technique he got super fast too. On the outside, he still looked like he was just at body tempering peak, but inside? Bro was totally different now. The next morning, I took the fishing bait Liu Chongkong hooked me up with out to the riverbank. And wouldn't you know it, in less than half a day, I'd already reeled in 2 scaled fish back to back. One was still a green scale fish, but the other one, a fresh catch, 100 flower fish. This type of fish specializes in munching on fallen flowers by the riverbank, including spirit flowers. So its flesh naturally smells amazing and is packed with even more spirit chi. I looked at these 2 fish and my mood instantly shot up. This bait, it actually has some real sauce to it. Thinking back to all that trash bait Shiwan bought before, I couldn't help but curse internally. Dude really got scammed by a shady merchant. Back at the courtyard, I handed the 100 flower fish to Shiwan first. This bad boy has to be steamed. We can't let that floral fragrance go to waste. Oh, and tell Lu Changkong to drop by. We've still got a green scale fish here just waiting. Shiwan nodded, zipped out for a quick sec, then came right back, clutching that 100 flower fish and diving straight into the kitchen. Not long after, a plate of perfectly steamed 100 flower fish was brought out. The moment that lid came off, the entire courtyard was flooded with an intoxicating floral aroma. Our little furball smelled it, immediately zipped over, and started circling my feet, meowing for attention. Looking at it, I couldn't help but crack a smile. Pretty smart, this one, knows exactly who to butter up. I picked up a piece of fish and tossed it to the cat. The little rascal immediately stopped meowing, bowed its head, and devoured it in seconds. Shiwan brought out 2 bowls of rice and dutifully sat down. "All right, master, let's dig in." The taste of that 100 flower fish was absolutely fire. Even I couldn't resist dropping a damn. That's good fish. Shiwan ate even more meticulously, not daring to take too much fish meat. Then he scooped up the sauce, mixed it with his rice, and inhaled several big mouthfuls. Halfway through our meal, I casually glanced towards the courtyard gate. Lu Changkong had actually already pulled up, but he was just chilling there, not coming in. I wasn't even mad about it. Busted. It wasn't until the plate of 100-flower fish on the table was completely devoured by us that his voice finally echoed from outside the door. Outer disciple Lu Changkong seeks an audience with Elder Ren. I chuckled to myself. This kid actually has some smarts when it comes to social etiquette. Seeing me mid-meal, he respected the vibe and waited patiently outside rather than barging in and disturbing me. That level of self-restraint, Shiwan could never. Once he entered the courtyard, he was carrying 2 paper packages. One reeked of fish, clearly packed with bait. The other package, probably some treats for our cat. Elder Ren, this is some freshly mixed bait, and I also brought a little something for the small cat. I nodded. You're thoughtful. Then I told Shiwan to haul out that green scale fish. Shiwan complied. The moment that 4 to 5 Jin green scale fish was brought out, Lu Changkong's eyes practically bugged out. Whether he gets to stay in the sect or not pretty much hinged on this one fish. Many thanks, Elder Ren. I waved my hand. Your bait game is strong, help me reel in a catch on day 1. You keep this one, no need to even talk price. Lu Changkong was clearly stunned speechless. He was mentally prepared to beg for money to buy the fish, not expecting me to just straight up gift it to him. Even though he tried to refuse at first, he ultimately took it, thanking me profusely again and again. I just told him to hurry up and bounce. Any longer, and the spirit chi in the fish would totally dissipate. Only once he was gone did Shiwan look at me with a puzzled expression. Master Ren, I clearly got here first, so why didn't I just walk in? I rolled my eyes so hard I could see my brain. This absolute blockhead. Go cultivate already. Some things you just know, no need for a manual. Let's be real, some folks, you could explain it until you're blue in the face, and it still wouldn't compute. Our boy Shiwan, utterly bewildered by my verbal assault, just scratched his head and shuffled off to cultivate. As for me, I just gazed down at the tabby cat chilling at my feet. This absolute unit of a cat was just hugging a 100-flower fishbone, licking it like there was no tomorrow. Honestly, it was a whole mood. Talk about living the good life, food-wise. But then, out of nowhere, a floating text box popped up right before my eyes. Tabby cat. Status pet attribute card null. My jaw dropped. Hold up, pets can get cards now? This was a game changer, a fresh discovery. But honestly, after a second thought, it totally tracked. I mean, if the system flags it as an object and it's practically my shadow, then yeah, tagging it should be a no-brainer. And let's be real, for a while now, I haven't stumbled upon a single attribute card that wasn't absolute fodder. My extraction pulls, let's just say I've got a whole stack saved up. Those basic green and white cards from the sect, bro, I've seen them so many times, I'm officially over it. Blue ones? Fam, I only copped 1 blue card, and that was from the Enlightenment Bowl. Talk about rare drops. And just like that, a thought hit me. Should I dip out for a bit, scout for some fresh loot, and bag myself a whole new set of attribute cards? But that fleeting thought? Yeah, I yeeted it right out of my head. Priorities, bro. Fishing first. Next day, guess who's back? Yours truly, chilling by the river, same old spot. Lu Changkong's bait? Not gonna lie, it slapped. But Destiny? That's still on another server. Sat there for hours, 0 spirit scale fish, not a zilch. But like a dozen pounds of basic tier fish, no problem. Nursing a whole lot of regret, I hauled the fish back to the courtyard and dumped them. Shiwan just stared, totally bewildered. Master, seriously, are we still eating this mountain of fish? I just shook my head. Nah fam, I'm tapped out, over it. Shiwan stared at the fish, then at the tabby cat, barely a 2-kilo fluffball at my feet. Even the cat looked like it was having an existential crisis. Bro, with this much fish, how's it gonna clear the plates? So our boy had no choice but to dry most of the fish. And just like that, the entire courtyard smelled like a fish market exploded. As for the cat, it had a glorious feast, belly distended and round. But even then, it only cleared like 1 kilo. Watching its devouring ability, I couldn't help but inwardly cringe. Seriously, that's it? If this is its max capacity, how's it gonna help me clear my fish inventory later on? Should I just summon more cat units? Nah, on second thought, hard pass. I'm already vibing with the quiet. 1 is more than enough chaos. And just like that, a new idea started brewing. Could I mod this cat a bit? Give it a serious eating buff? Bonus points if whatever it devours can somehow morph into spirit chi. After a moment of deep thought, I summoned Shiwan. Yo fam, you know anything that can just gobble everything up and then convert it into spirit chi? And what happened? This kid just blue screened right there. One look at his face and I knew asking was about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. To really optimize this cat, attribute cards are the way. Max out its eating stats, get that spirit chi conversion flowing, that's the meta. Just as I was cooking up some big brain plays, a voice boomed from beyond the door. Elder Ren disciple Lu Changkong seeks an audience. I looked up to see this guy Lu Changkong rolling up with more stuff, and yo, his aura was way thicker than a few days back. I gave him a quick look, a smirk playing on my lips. Oh, someone leveled up? Major W. Lu Changkong was practically glowing. Elder Ren, my gratitude knows no bounds for your supreme generosity. This disciple can finally stay in the Ling Wu Sect next year, no longer a fraud. Shiwan shot a look at me, then at Lu Changkong before discreetly pulling him aside. Yo, junior brother Liu, you're the walking wiki, right? You know anything that can just eat everything and turn it into spirit chi? Master asked me yesterday, and I totally fumbled the answer. Lu Changkong froze for a second, then etched it into his mind, didn't ask questions, just kept nodding like a bobblehead. Next morning, bright and early, Lu Changkong showed up again. I was just chilling, soaking up some sun in the courtyard, saw him and was kinda like, bro, this kid brought bait again? Back for more, huh? Lu Changkong walked closer, pulling out a gray rock from his chest pocket. Fist-sized, rough AF looked half stone, half alien tech. Nom elder, yesterday I heard 10th senior brother talking. And then by pure coincidence, this disciple found this thing back home. Thought it might be useful, so I brought it for you to check out. I took the rock, my eyes scanned it, and my heart literally skipped a beat. A Yunling stone, a blank attribute card transformation upon consumption. My eyes practically turned into headlights. This is exactly what I was looking for. All I wanted was to figure out how to get my tabby cat to eat more fish, so I didn't have dried fish hanging everywhere. Now, it looks like I can solve this problem permanently, one and done. Lu Changkong, standing beside me, quietly explained, "Nam Elder, this thing is called a Wuling stone. They call it a stone, but it actually behaves more like a living organism. Bury it in wood, and the wood will quickly decay into a pile of pulp, but in return, it releases a trickle of spiritual energy. They say if you leave it long enough, it can even grow bigger." After hearing that, my satisfaction levels went through the roof. Wood is its food, and the attribute card is literally named Transformation Upon Consumption. So yeah, it's pretty much guaranteed to turn whatever it eats into raw spiritual energy. I flipped my hand, pocketing the stone. A rare smile actually broke out on my face. "That's very thoughtful of you. This item is perfect for me. Next time I reel in a spirit-scaled fish, I'll make sure to save one for you." Lu Changkong's face lit up with joy, but he quickly reined it in. This disciple thanks Nam Elder in advance. I waved him off, gesturing for the kid to sit down and chill with some tea. Lu Changkong obediently took a seat to the side, acting all humble and knowing his place. Right then, I was still pondering, if I slapped this attribute card onto my tabby cat, what kind of monstrosity would it even become? Would I accidentally cultivate some kind of abomination? But then I remembered the attribute card could always be retrieved. If things went sideways, I'd just pull it back, easy peasy. Besides, I'd already entered Yangyun, which wasn't far from Ninghai. On this Ling Wu Sect turf, I'd basically cemented my place. After my realm skyrocketed, I actually started valuing my life even more. Go figure. If there's tea to be drunk, drink it. If there are fish to be caught, catch 'em. Why bother running around fighting for power like some kind of muscle-brained NPC? With a long lifespan stretching out, you should definitely live it comfortably. Who with a brain cell to spare would waste their precious free time risking their life? That's just dumb. Thinking this, I shot a side-eye at Lu Changkong. "You got a lot of free time on your hands lately, huh? Why are you constantly running over to my spot every single day?" Lu Changkong quickly chuckled, trying to butter me up. This disciple was just seizing the opportunity to visit Nam Elder. If it weren't for that Qingling fish, this disciple would have had to pack his bags and leave the mountain in a few days. This kindness this disciple will engrave in his very soul. I quickly waved a hand, cutting off his blatant flattery. Don't outer disciples usually have a mountain of chores to do? Yet you still manage to carve out time? Looks like you're pretty efficient at getting things done. Lu Changkong gave a bitter smile. This disciple's hands and feet are just a bit nimble, that's all. Once the work's done, I've got time. And besides, at Nam Elder's place, this disciple should definitely stop by more often. I could tell this kid genuinely wanted to get on my good side, but honestly, that's just common sense. For outer disciples, my very existence was a rare cultivation resource. This Lu Changkong kid was meticulous, understood the situation, but his innate talent was just average. As a master, it felt like a bit of a waste. I wasn't planning on taking any disciples just yet, so I didn't push the conversation any further. Lu Changkong stood up to take his leave. Before heading out, he solemnly declared, "Nam Elder, next time if there are any spirit fish, this disciple will absolutely buy them at market price. No way I'm trying to rip you off." I just offered a small smile and didn't bother replying. Once the kid was gone, I glanced over at the drying racks in the courtyard, absolutely packed with dried fish. A breeze kicked up and that pungent, fishy aroma instantly filled the air. I frowned. Drying this many salted fish definitely left an impression, a smell impression. In the corner, my tabby cat was slumped against the wall, head tilted back, absolutely laser-focused on the pile of dried fish on the rack. Its eyes were practically glued to the loot. Seeing that, I couldn't help but chuckle. "With that tiny little stomach of yours, how much could you even eat, huh? Kitty, come here, boy." My tabby heard me, darted over, rubbing itself against my leg, its big round eyes filled with utter confusion. I pulled out the Yunling stone, a thought flashed through my mind, extract transformation. Upon consumption. Secured the blank attribute card. Our boy bent down, gazing at the tabby. Since it had pet status, the blank attribute card could be bestowed. But deep down, our boy felt a bit iffy about giving a cheat code to a cat. It just didn't sound very serious. But then again, if this feline was already considered a pet, it was practically family, so why not give it a shot? Bestow the attribute card. The moment the thought finished, the tabby's info immediately shifted. Transformation upon consumption. All ingested food converts into spirit energy which can be retrieved. Our boy watched and silently nodded. White tear it might be, but the effect? Don't you dare sleep on it. Shiwan's green spirit absorbing card made his cultivation speed outshine actual spirit bodies, proving these attribute cards are absolutely not simple. The tabby seemed to realize the change too, stretching out long before turning back to fix its gaze on the dried fish display. Our boy looked on, half amused, half exasperated. All right. You really want to eat, huh? Then go feast to your heart's content." Our boy waved a hand, spirit energy morphing into thin blades, instantly snapping all the ropes. Dried fish rained down onto the ground. "Cat!" The tabby immediately darted forward, chowing down frantically with unbelievable speed. In mere moments, a two-catty salted fish was reduced to a pristine pile of white bones, each one neatly arranged as if perfectly filleted. "Bro, what even is this cat?" Our boy's mouth twitched. "Damn, that's clean eating." "Go on then." Our boy decisively brought down the rest of the pile, curious to see just how much this card could actually devour. The tabby buried its head, devouring fish after fish in a frenzy. By the fifth fish, even it had to pause for a second, probably wondering why its stomach felt like a bottomless pit today. But seeing the mountain of fish at its paws, it immediately went back to munching. Our boy quickly noticed an extremely tiny wisp of spirit energy forming within the tabby. Pathetically weak, sure, but for a mere cat, that was beyond absurd. At this rate, this little fella is going to be a full-blown demonic beast soon enough. But our boy wasn't going to bother digging deep into it. As long as it ate all the fish, it was fine. Whether it cultivates or becomes a demon, that's its own damn fate. Eat up, don't waste those fish. With everything settled, our boy grabbed his fishing rod and headed out. Xiwan was still locked in his cultivation room. Our boy would only bring him food and water at mealtimes. Our boy was beyond satisfied. In the following days, the dried fish in the courtyard were, as expected, no longer piling up. The tabby would see fish and instantly pounce, eating with increasing fervor. Xiwan, noticing the cat's skyrocketing appetite, once peeked in curiously, only to get a nasty scratch from the tabby the moment he reached out. From then on, Xiwan stopped asking altogether. Every day was either chores or cultivation. Life was simple to the extreme. Lu Chongkong was still as hyperactive as ever, sending over bait bag after bag. He even learned how to concoct his own. Right in front of our boy, he poured out some slimy concoction from a bottle, rubbing his hands together. The stench was so potent it made our boy's eyelids twitch like crazy. Our boy had originally thought of learning it himself if it was simple enough. But after witnessing that scene, our boy immediately gave up on the idea. Nah, that kind of bait isn't something a refined individual like our boy should be touching. Too bad fate didn't care about his preferences. For days on end, not a single spirit fish took the bait. That evening, while the master and disciple were eating, Xiwan suddenly looked up. "Master, the disciple assessment is about to begin." Our boy's hand, mid-chopstick, paused. He casually replied, "So what if it starts? With your current skills, is passing a mere assessment really going to be an issue?" She scratched his head, looking a little hesitant. "This assessment, I heard, is different from before. Now this is getting interesting." "What's the difference, though?" Xiwan whispered. "Heard they gotta duke it out in the arena." After hearing that, my brain immediately FK'd. "So just fight then." Xiwan didn't reply right away. Instead, he seriously asked a question. "Master, how much power should this disciple even use?" Hearing that, I took a serious look and realized this kid, Xiwan, had quietly stepped into the True Chi realm. True Chi middle stage. His cheat code for hiding cultivation was still active, but it ain't hiding from my eyes. I secretly clicked my tongue. This speed? Bro's leveling up at an absurd pace. True Chi middle stage isn't even considered weak among inner disciples, and this absolute unit Xiwan just joined, casually showing off a bit of his skill, would be more than enough to ace the assessment. I pondered for a moment, then suddenly asked, "Does the assessment have rewards?" Xiwan's eyes practically turned into dollar signs. "Yes, master. First place gets a spirit weapon and 100 spirit stones." "Ah, I see. This little gremlin's just after the bag. If he wants it, he should just go grab it." "How are your martial arts techniques coming along?" Xiwan obediently replied, "All of them are maxed out, master." Only then was I satisfied. "Alright, then no need to hide your power. Unless it's absolutely necessary, just flex your true strength." Xiwan looked shook. This disciple understands. Time passed. The tabby cat ate like a black hole. But instead of getting chonky, the spiritual energy within it became more and more obvious. I narrowed my eyes, picked it up, and took a closer look. Whoa, it actually entered the body tempering realm. A demonic beast in body tempering first layer might be weak, but on a tabby cat? Bro, that's wild. I remember Lu Chongkong saying this cat had a trace of demonic beast bloodline. Looks like he wasn't capping. The tabby held midair, flailed its little legs wildly, its face a picture of pure confusion. I chuckled, tossing it back to the fish pile. "Alright, now that you're a demonic beast, stop running around like a headless chicken. Don't want someone catching you and turning you into soup, do we? I heard there's a dish called Dragon Tiger Battle." The tabby cat visibly shivered. Its fish gnawing paused for a beat, then it started chomping even faster. I didn't even care if it understood or not. I turned and left the sect gate, heading straight for the small town at the foot of Ling Wu Sect. On this trip down the mountain, I wanted to find Xiwan a sword martial arts technique. This kid lately, whenever he sees someone wielding a sword, his eyes light up like a Christmas tree. Clearly, he's got a thing for it. I entered a shop in town and immediately asked if they had any sword martial arts techniques. The shop owner was way too enthusiastic, immediately launching into a spiel about ancestral secret techniques and shop guarding treasures. Turns out, after a quick scan, the best thing he had was only Emperor grade, and he had the audacity to demand 200 spirit stones for it. I almost cursed out loud. Martial arts techniques at Ling Wu Sect were all considered precious. This tiny backwater town? Where's it gonna have anything good for me to pick up? I could only slink out thinking, guess Xiwan will just have to take a tiny L for now. Anyway, doesn't first place in the disciple assessment get him a spirit weapon? By then, he can just use that spirit weapon to chop people up easy peasy. The town at night was way more bustling than during the day. Roadside lanterns flickered on one by one. Maidens on the upper floors were waving at passers-by, doing their thing. Some were even cooing that just 5 spirit stones would satisfy them. Seeing this, I wasn't even surprised. This profession is popular in any world, but honestly, I wasn't interested. I was about to head back to the mountain when suddenly shouting erupted from behind. Someone was aggressively cussing. "You, stop right there!" Passers-by immediately rubbernecked. I looked towards the sound, only to see a small, thin figure desperately weaving through the crowd who looked like a young girl. Behind her were several burly men in pursuit, each of them at the body tempering realm. In an instant, they slipped into a small alley and vanished. I really didn't want to get involved in some main character side quest, but then my ears caught whispers from the crowd. Apparently, it's some poor soul in trouble. Escaping Dihonglu, hearing those 3 words made our boy freeze. Curious AF, he had to ask the person next to him, "Wait, what even is that place?" Seeing our boy's dumbfounded look, the guy first scanned his surroundings, then leaned in close and whispered, "Dihonglu, they're infamous for snatching young maidens." He said some were tricked, others were just straight up abducted. Hearing this, our boy's expression instantly turned grim. Our boy always hated seeing good people forced into depravity. Plus, this was at the foot of Ling Wuzong's mountain. Logically, this should be the sect's territory. He pressed, "So Ling Wuzong just doesn't care about stuff like this?" The guy shook his head with a bitter laugh. "Young man, you don't get it. This business? It's run by people from Ling Wuzong. Don't go sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. Ling Wuzong is a major power. Ordinary folk can't mess with them. That poor girl, it's a lost cause. No one can save her." Our boy simply nodded his thanks. And then, he vanished from his spot. With Yang Yuanjing combined with his perfected movement technique, he zipped through the alleys, practically just a gust of wind. Ordinary folks just felt a cold breeze sweep past them. Before long, he caught up to those clowns in a dead-end alley. The young maiden was cornered against the wall. She looked barely 16 or 17, her face stained with tears, her voice trembling violently. She was begging those guys not to take her. But the men just laughed with sadistic glee. They sneered that she was coming whether she liked it or not, spouting nasty words right in front of her, even getting ready to make their move right there in the alley. Just as they closed in, our boy's voice cut through the air. "Y'all are a bit too hasty, aren't you?" The punks jumped, all turning their heads. Seeing our boy was alone, their arrogance instantly returned. The leader cursed our boy out, telling him not to ruin their good time, threatening to break his legs if he didn't scram. They clearly couldn't sense any spirit energy fluctuations from our boy, so they just treated him like a regular schmuck. Our boy stood still, unmoving, and simply asked them back, "Why are you still here?" The 3 clowns, seeing he didn't know his place, charged at him together. The result? The moment they took a single step, our boy vanished from his spot. A split second later, 3 crisp cracks rang out simultaneously. All 3 goons flew backward, clutching their faces, screaming miserably as teeth and blood gushed out. Our boy stepped on one guy's head, leaning down to ask, "Didn't you say you wanted to break my legs?" That punk was scared out of his wits. Before he could even open his mouth, the guy next to him weakly screeched, "We're from Ling Wuzong. You dare touch us, you're courting death." Our boy simply glanced at him, then casually threw a punch. No, wait, it was a spirit fist, compressing the air with immense force, directly blowing his head into a bloody mist. This gruesome sight made the 2 remaining clowns completely collapse. They begged non-stop. Too lazy to hear their nonsense, our boy coldly asked for their true identities. Ling Wuzong's outer disciples shouldn't be this weak. The 2 trembled and confessed. Turns out, they weren't Ling Wuzong disciples themselves. Their boss, however, was from the sect, and they just used Ling Wuzong's name to make their dirty work easier. Our boy then asked, "And who is your boss?" The 2 looked at each other and finally one whispered, "Our boss, he's an elder of Ling Wuzong, but his specific identity we don't know." Our boy nodded after hearing that. "Alright, I'm done asking." The 2 punks panicked. One claimed he had elders and young ones to feed, the other said they had no choice. Our boy showed zero interest. He simply stomped one head to a pulp, then sent the other guy on his way with a single punch. After he was done, our boy finally turned to look at the young maiden. She was staring at him, a mix of terror and confusion in her eyes. She looked quite delicate, though her healthy, wheat-colored skin and coarse cloth dress spoke of an ordinary background. He was about to tell her to hurry home, but she lowered her head and said she had no home left. Her family had been slaughtered by those scumbags, and she didn't even know where her original home was anymore. Hearing that, our boy finally understood. This girl wasn't just lost, she was straight up trafficked and sold all over the place. Suddenly, our boy felt a headache coming on. Leaving her in town was a no-go, too dangerous. But taking her home, that would be such a hassle. After a moment's thought, he still asked for her name. She softly whispered, "My Ching Ching." Our boy then asked if she had anywhere else to go. She just shook her head again, pitiful. In the end, he had no choice but to tell her to just follow him for now, introducing himself as they walked. "I'm Shi Renping." My Ching Ching shyly nodded, then stuck to our boy like glue, not daring to leave his side. When they reached the Ling Wu Sect's main gates, the terror on her face clearly cranked up a few notches. Our boy with a sigh explained, "Yeah, this is the Ling Wu Sect. I'm also an elder of the Ling Wu Sect, and the people behind that Dihong house? They're probably also from our sect, I just haven't figured out who yet." My Ching Ching heard all that, and just looked even more bewildered, but still obediently followed him through the gates. By the time our boy brought her back to his courtyard, it was completely dark. A few lanterns hung in the courtyard, casting a warm glow. Shiwan was already sitting at the table, a few dishes laid out, waiting for our boy. He stood up to reheat the food, but then did a double take, spotting Mai Ching Ching behind him. Just as Shiwan was about to open his mouth, our boy cut him off. "Don't babble, just go reheat the food already." That night, Mai Ching Ching practically inhaled the food, burying her face in the dishes. Shiwan watched, utterly dumbfounded. Even the tabby cat perched on the table squatted there staring at her for ages, almost like it had found a kindred spirit or a fellow food fiend. Our boy had no idea how long this poor girl had been starving. Bottom line, 3 plates of food were quickly utterly annihilated by her. Only when she finally put down her chopsticks did she belatedly and adorably blush. She mumbled, sorry, I was just so hungry. Our boy waved his hand dismissively, it's fine. Then he told Shiwan to whip up a few more dishes for himself, since he hadn't eaten anything yet. Our boy then told Shiwan to set up a room for Mai Ching Ching and then come find him afterwards. Shiwan worked fast, he was back in a flash. Our boy was chilling in the courtyard, casually teasing the cat. As soon as he sat down, Shiwan couldn't hold back, immediately asking about Mai Ching Ching's story. Our boy just told him she was someone he'd rescued from the town below the mountain. Shiwan scratched his head, clearly still not grasping the full picture. Our boy was too lazy to get into the details, so he just cut to the chase. How much longer until the disciple assessment? Shiwan replied probably around 5 days. Our boy nodded. Yeah, that should be enough time. Then our boy told him that Dihong house down the mountain, they specialize in forcing innocent women into prostitution and oh yeah, human trafficking. In the next few days, go deal with this, our boy added, and tomorrow, make sure you call Liu Changkong to come along. Shiwan finally reacted then, a light bulb going off. Mai Ching Ching, she must have escaped from that place. He mumbled, understood, and was about to head off. Our boy then added one more question, do you even know how to handle it? Shiwan answered without a second thought, isn't it obvious? Just smash the Dihong house to smithereens and rescue everyone inside. Our boy took a sharp, cold breath, then waved his hand, telling him to hold his horses and not act just yet. Just wait for Liu Changkong to get here, then we'll figure out the next move. The next day, our boy was back at the riverside fishing as usual, classic MC. Shiwan and Liu Changkong stood next to him, just watching. Liu Changkong looked utterly confused. This was the first time our boy had ever actually sought him out. Shiwan also looked pretty bewildered. He roughly knew it was about the Dihong house, but he couldn't figure out why our boy insisted on calling Liu Changkong to come along. I mean, in his opinion, one measly Dihong house, just smash it and be done with it. Why make it so complicated? I chill flexed a grass carp out of the water, then finally waved the duo over. After watching them for a bit, I've pretty much got their whole deal figured out. Shiwan, great for cooking, chores, cultivating, and throwing hands. But tell him to use his brain? Nah, bro's operating on dial-up. Liu Changkong, on the other hand, is pretty sharp. Just one catch. His power level ain't quite there yet. I gave Liu Changkong a look, asked his age first. Turns out he's 21 this year, practically my peer, not some junior. I pondered for a sec, then just came out with it, yo, I'm kinda short on help. Wanna be my disciple in name? Liu Changkong froze on the spot. I could practically hear the gears grinding, a million thoughts racing through his mind. Shiwan next to him was practically spamming the wink emoji. Terrified Liu Changkong would hesitate and fumble this heaven-sent cheat code. A beat later, Liu Changkong finally bowed his head and said yes, but still hesitated to add, but like, I'm not even an inner disciple yet. I waved it off. Bro, that's small potatoes. I said you're my disciple, not just some inner disciple of the Ling Wu Sect. Hearing that, Liu Changkong looked like he'd finally locked in. He immediately dropped to his knees and performed the full kowtow. Master. Disciple greets master. I just smiled at him. Alright, get up now. Then I dropped the bomb about the Dihong Lu. So in town, there's this spot called Dihong Lu. Word on the street is the real big boss pulling the strings is actually an elder from the Ling Wu Sect. I need you two to shut that place down, preferably within the next few days, by evening. Don't go missing the disciple assessment. I even threw in a special instruction. This time, you listen to the junior brother's command. Senior brother, keep your eyes on him. This dude works way too directly. After delegating all the dirty work, I casually tossed Liu Changkong a green token. It was something I acquired by casually siphoning spirit energy from an elder's courtyard a few days back. I just straight up gifted it to him. The next second, his innate talent was on par with Shiwan. Talk about a glow up. But this time, after giving the token, I didn't get any new permanent tokens myself. My system panel just popped up with the message, already possesses this token. I saw it and instantly got the memo. So yeah, can't just keep farming the same token for free forever, apparently. After they dipped, I just rebaited my hook and went back to my chill fishing. Meanwhile, Liu Changkong was still looking a bit shell-shocked. Shiwan, on the other hand, clapped him on the shoulder, practically glowing. From now on, we're all disciples under master, let's go. Liu Changkong genuinely could not compute why Shiwan was so hyped. Dude just joined and already got handed a thorny quest. What's there to be happy about? Not to mention the Dihong Lu has deep roots. This ain't gonna be some easy clap. But Shiwan, bro acted like he just hit the jackpot. Noticing Liu Changkong's complicated expression, he seriously told him, Junior brother, you have no idea how cracked master is. Before, you weren't officially part of the squad, so I couldn't spill the tea. Truth is, master's cultivation is so deep, it's literally unquantifiable. Liu Changkong heard this, and his eyes started twitching like crazy. In his mind, our master was famously the biggest trash-tier cultivator in the entire sect. Shiwan just chuckled. Don't forget, I used to be a trash-tier cultivator too, you know. So, wanna guess why I'm this powerful now? Liu Changkong was utterly stunned. Shiwan, unfazed, just patted him on the back. Come on, let's head to Dihong Lu today and do some recon first. Liu Changkong snapped out of it and quickly grabbed him. Senior brother, hold up, master said to listen to me this time. Let me get the full intel first, then we move. Only then did Shiwan grudgingly halt his charge. Eventually, Liu Changkong headed back to his outer sect digs alone, pulling a small notebook from under his bed. Turns out he usually collected intel on all sorts of big names in the sect. After flipping through for a bit, he actually found a lead. In the entire sect, there was only one elder with that surname, Guangqing, the inner elder of Xuanti Peak. And get this, the head elder of Xuanti Peak was none other than Zhang Zuoyang. Reading this, Liu Changkong took a sharp intake of breath. Suddenly, this mission just went from thorny to straight-up suicidal. On one side, you've got inner elder Guangqing, and on the other, Zhang Zuoyang himself, that absolute titan of a mountain. Plus, Zhang Zuoyang and I already had some serious beef. One slip-up and things were bound to get spicy. The more Liu Changkong dwelled on it, the more pressure he felt. So as that day's sunset painted the sky, he initially planned to grind out a night of cultivation, and then tomorrow he'd scope out more intel on the Yihong building. But who'd have thought this cultivation session would leave him absolutely stunned? After activating his cultivation technique, he found his spirit energy absorption speed was literally 10 times faster than before. He just froze, absolutely dumbfounded, because this was not his original talent, not even by a long shot. Then he suddenly remembered Shiwan's words from earlier. At this point, how could he possibly sit still? He immediately bolted out of his room, sprinting straight to my courtyard gate. Shiwan was in the courtyard. The moment Liu Changkong saw him, his face flushed red with excitement. Could it really be Master who did this? Shiwan, however, looked a bit annoyed. Bro, didn't I tell you earlier today? Master doesn't like showing off, so you absolutely, positively do not mention this to anyone outside. Liu Changkong nodded frantically. I got it. But the shock rattling his core? He couldn't suppress it. In his mind, this sudden boost in cultivation talent was nothing short of a miracle. He was even convinced that for me to help him, I must have paid a hefty price. So he once again considered the Yihong matter. This Yihong building thing? He figured it was just another one of my little tests for him. From inside my room, I was picking up every single word of their conversation. With my current cultivation, that distance and those whispers? Naturally, nothing could be hidden from me. I was just thinking, this kid finally gets it when I heard Liu Changkong outside asking Shiwan if I was asleep, saying he had something about the Yihong building to report to me. The very next second, my calm voice drifted out, come in. And that, it shook Liu Changkong all over again. When he entered the courtyard, his gaze was basically one of reverence, like he was looking at an immortal. Once he was there, I just casually lounged on my chair and asked him what he'd discovered. He immediately rattled off the identities, Guangjing's identity and everything else he had learned, all in one go. After hearing it all, even I was a bit surprised. Who'd have thought the real mastermind was actually an inner elder from Xuanti Peak? Given Shiwan's strength at the time, a direct confrontation would still be a bit out of his league. So I asked him, what's the play then? Liu Changkong stayed silent for a long while before finally saying, we'll leverage the sect's power to expose this, leaving Guangjing to face the music himself. I nodded after hearing it. Not a bad direction, go with your plan. Just as I was about to tell him to leave, Liu Changkong suddenly knelt down with a thud. Master, he said, I honestly thought my life was over. Your immense kindness, Master, I will never forget it, even for eternity. Honestly, I can't stand their habit of dropping to their knees at the slightest provocation, so I waved my hand, cutting him off. All right, cut the theatrics. Go on, get to work, chop chop. That night, I hit the hay early. Tomorrow, I wanted to see if fishing at dawn would get me more bites. As for Mai Qingqing, she had a pretty peaceful day. After Shiwan finished cooking and cleaning, she spent her free time cuddling and playing with the tabby cat. I noticed this tabby cat actually gets along pretty well with her. Aside from demanding food and clinging to me, the rest of the time it preferred to stick close to her. Early the next morning, Mai Qingqing brought a bowl of porridge to me, asking if I was going fishing again. I nodded, naturally. She hesitated for a moment, then spoke up, Benefactor, can I cultivate? I glanced up at her. For cultivation matters, go ask Shiwan. I don't have the free time to teach you every single step. Mai Qingqing's eyes sparkled with joy after hearing that. Thank you, Benefactor. After I gave the nod, Mai Qingqing immediately went to find Shiwan. Shiwan gave her a basic cheat code and then rushed out the door, because he and Liu Changkong had already planned to check out the Dihong Lu. According to Liu Changkong, if they wanted to clear out the Dihong Lu, they couldn't just barge in and smash everything. They had to thoroughly scout the place first. Shiwan felt annoyed the whole way. What kind of situation could they even scout at that place? Liu Changkong, with a squinting smile, replied, of course we're going to spend some cash. Shiwan heard that and immediately went ballistic. Absolutely not. If Master finds out, he'll definitely be furious. Liu Changkong had no choice but to pull him aside and patiently explain. This time, everything had to go according to plan. If they could directly defeat Guangjing, it would be different, but since victory wasn't assured yet, they needed a more stable approach. After much persuasion, Shiwan reluctantly gritted his teeth and agreed. The two then entered Dihong Lu. Liu Changkong acted like a regular, while Shiwan was stiff as a log. According to Liu Changkong, they hadn't been inside long before they ran into a few familiar outer sect disciples. Those guys were already wondering, this broke dude, who probably wishes he could split himself in half, a penny pincher like Liu Changkong, why is he here looking for fun? But then Liu Changkong stepped back, revealing Shiwan, and everyone's faces changed instantly. Shiwan's reputation in the sect was huge now, so those guys naturally scrambled to curry favor. Everyone wanted to lead the way and introduce girls to Shiwan, but he awkwardly rejected them all. The news spread like wildfire. The entire Dihong Lu knew Xiwan had arrived, and the madam herself came out to greet him, calling him young hero Shi with utmost enthusiasm. Lu Chongkong, standing by, answered on Xiwan's behalf. Senior brother Shi wants to meet the most beautiful one. The madam heard that and immediately brought out Xuan Li, the house's top beauty. The madam praised Xuan Li, saying she was as beautiful as a celestial being. She even said Xuan Li heard Xiwan was coming and had already started getting ready, waiting to meet this young prodigy. Things had reached this point. Xiwan had no escape, so he reluctantly followed Lu Chongkong into the private room. What happened next became a massive scandal. Almost the entire sect knew because for 2 consecutive days, Xuan Li went into that room and Xiwan was always inside. The madam told everyone she met that young hero Shi was both valiant and tender. When Xuan Li came out, she also intentionally bowed her head, feigning shyness. And so, the rumor spread even wider. By the time Xiwan and Lu Chongkong left the Dihong Lu to return to the sect, his pristine reputation was pretty much obliterated. Along the way, whenever they met a sect disciple, someone would give a knowing wink and a greeting. Some praised his astonishing battle prowess, others even asked if he needed an invitation to sample other venues. Xiwan's face was black as soot, asking Lu Chongkong if his reputation was completely ruined. Lu Chongkong remained completely calm, basically yeah. But this time it was to save those poor girls. Consider it a small sacrifice of ego for a greater cause. When those two returned, I was sunbathing in the courtyard, conveniently observing Mai Qingqing meditating and cultivating not far away. Lu Chongkong was shocked and amazed when he saw Mai Qingqing because she had only cultivated for 2 short days but had already reached the 2nd level of body tempering. His gaze immediately shifted to me, now with an added layer of awe and respect, clearly attributing this development to me. But this time I genuinely didn't interfere. Even I was surprised. Mai Qingqing's talent is incredibly strong. Compared to Xiwan's rare blue-tier stats, she's only slightly inferior. When I looked at this girl, I even wondered, did I just randomly save someone and accidentally pick up another genius? Does that mean I'm basically a power fantasy MC? For the past 2 days, Mai Qingqing has been cooking all the meals in the courtyard. She clearly had more talent in cooking than Xiwan. I asked them how the mission was progressing. Xiwan Linli wasn't about to spill, so Su Chongkong stepped in, saying all they needed was the east wind, and senior brother Shi's continued cooperation was key. Hearing that, I pretty much knew they'd set the stage. So, I waved them off to continue, but not without reminding them not to mess up the upcoming disciple assessment. After they left, I went back to checking out the spirit fish I'd just caught today. Even though it was the usual green-scaled fish, it was still a spirit fish, you know? So I just casually tossed the fish to Mai Qingqing. Qingqing, you can cook this fish for yourself, but don't forget to make food for me and the cat. Mai Qingqing, clutching the fish, nodded eagerly and bounced with excitement. She started boasting to me that she'd made mapo tofu and braised pork belly today. Both dishes were things I'd just casually taught her. And honestly, she picked them up pretty well. Lately, my life has become incredibly simple. Fishing, drinking tea, my cultivation level just unconsciously reached Yangyuan peak, like no effort, just happened. I wasn't even trying to cultivate, but I still leveled up super fast. As for my actual strength, bro, I'm too lazy to even think about it. It's not like I'll need to personally get involved anytime soon anyway. One day, while I was fishing by the river, my luck was pretty decent. In less than half an hour, I caught a new species of fish. The fish was entirely silver white, sleek and long like a sword. Holding it, I could feel its overwhelming spiritual energy, and I instantly got hyped. This, my friends, was an extremely rare spirit swordfish from the river. While I was vibing, over on the other side, Xiwan had already started moving according to Lu Chongkong's meticulously laid plan. The first 2 days were all about spreading the reputation of Xiwan obsessed with Chun-Li far and wide. Only on the 3rd day would he go and cause trouble. That way they'd have a perfect excuse to blow things up without it seeming too abrupt. So bright and early on the 3rd day, Xiwan led a crowd of disciples all hyped to watch the show, and straight up blocked Elder Guangjing's courtyard gate. Guangjing was initially a bit bewildered. Our boy Guangjing had no clue why Xiwan was suddenly coming after him. Xiwan, face dark, directly questioned Elder Guangjing. Are you not going to give me an explanation? Where in the world is my Chun-Li? The surrounding disciples heard that and were utterly dumbfounded. Nobody could believe that Ling Wu Sect's #1 mind-heart genius would block an intersect elder's gate, demanding answers, all for a brothel's top beauty. Elder Guangjing. Guangjing's initially tried to play dumb, but after a nearby disciple whispered a reminder, he realized Chun-Li was the star courtesan of the Yihong Tower. His expression instantly changed. Yihong Tower has no shortage of beauties. If you like, I can arrange someone even better, Guangjing offered, but Xiwan refused to back down. I only want Chun-Li. If I don't see her today, this ain't over. Guangjing saw that being gentle wasn't working and was still trying to stall, but Xiwan instantly vanished from his spot and straight up punched Guangjing in the face. The surrounding crowd froze. No one expected this guy to have such massive balls. Guangjing's disciple immediately yelled, Xiwan, how dare you lay hands on my master? Xiwan didn't even spare him a glance. His body flashed again, and that disciple was sent flying horizontally out of there. It was only then that everyone truly realized Xiwan wasn't just bold enough to cause chaos, but his strength was also ridiculously insane. Elder Guangjing, being a Yongyuan realm elder himself, also recognized the anomaly. It was clear Xiwan was using an advanced lightness technique, cultivated to an incredibly profound level. After getting over his initial shock, Guangjing tried to persuade Shiwan to calm down, but Shiwan simply ignored him, charging forward with a fierce empty-handed strike. The powerful fist chi compressed the air, making a buzzing sound. This time, the watching disciples became even more agitated, because Shiwan had revealed his true chi peak cultivation. A disciple who hadn't even entered the sect that long, not only reaching true chi peak but also mastering 2 advanced martial skills to an incredibly high level. No matter how you looked at it, this was absolutely mind-blowing.